Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay. Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth? You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There is only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get a rest!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days, they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks and Speedy Petey.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was.
January 19th, 2023.
You are listening to the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host. Speedy, I want to go to the bathroom, Petey. 631-672-3108 is the number. You can check out our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including our show, which airs live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. and Thursday, which is live right now, 9 p.m. Check out Game On with Josh Silverberg, which airs at 6 p.m. live every Friday. And all our shows, The Herd and The Betting Show, Wake and Bake. Check out our shows throughout the week. They're great shows. Tune in. Fantastic content and great guests. Speedy, what's up, man?
Well, I'm not in the bathroom, so clearly there was no need to rush before the show.
I had to go to the bathroom.
Yes, I was aware you went out with Eric, so you probably ate a lot of appetizer
Actually,
food and all that.
Well, he always orders the appetizers, always. And obviously, I pick at it, but I don't like to eat the appetizers. Obviously, it's fried food, and it makes me sick. It hurts my stomach. I have a bad stomach as it is, and I was, back in the bathroom enjoying myself. I do get a chance to read all my fan mail when I'm sitting on the toilet, so that was fun. How are you?
I guess I was fan mail. That's an interesting way to put it.
I do.
It seems like a very old school term, but I guess it works for you. You have a lot of followers on Twitter.
That's true, and I got a lot of fan mail who writes to me, and people like to attack me, or they love what I'm doing. I actually had a guy that on Twitter that says he loves the show and loves that I'm a Jet fan, so he'll be tuning in tonight. So shout out to all the Twitter fans that have not listened to the show and now do. So thank you. Anyways, Speedy, what's going on? I mean, I asked you what's going on.
Nothing really.
Lost a little bit?
Well, I don't know about lost. I'm not in a corn maze, but
a corn what?
A corn maze.
You're in a corn maze?
I said I'm not in a corn
maze.
This
isn't Halloween.
No.
Why would you be in a corn maze?
That is spooky, though.
What, a corn maze? Have you ever been
haunted corn mazes? Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. When was the last time you were at a haunted corn maze?
Sometime when I was in college, I think it was. There's a corn maze in the neighboring town over, and a couple of my friends and I did that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Did you get scared?
One thing, but that was really it.
Did you pee your pants?
No, I didn't pee my pants.
So you never been scared enough that you peed your pants?
No.
Is there a movie that you liked or was scared of that you'll never watch again?
Yeah, Snakes on a Plane.
Snakes on a plane?
I hate snakes, so I cannot.
So you're telling me if I brought a snake in this studio right now, you would have a heart attack?
I would hope not, but there's a possibility.
Now I know something. I can have my cousin bring a snake in here.
Oh God,
that'll be interesting. What's so scary about a snake?
I've been terrified of them since I was a kid. They slither around. They could be poisonous. I don't know.
Not all snakes are poisonous.
I didn't say they were. I know that.
And not all snakes are bad.
I'm not taking that chance.
They eat rodents.
For such an agile, tough to catch creature that slithers around and you can't
They're not tough to catch.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Where do you learn this information? Where do you get this information? Do you watch the Animal Planet?
No.
So you wouldn't even sit and watch anything about snakes?
I can't do narration stuff.
Really?
No, I can't do that.
But you can narrate everything with sports, but you can't watch
I wouldn't
narration.
narrate it.
So how about,
I would not narrate like that, like the way they.
What is so scary about a snake? Please.
Everything. It slithers around.
Stop with the slithering. That's not scary.
Yeah, it is because it's sneaky. It's not like a lion that you could see. Oh, it's running at you.
You can see a snake coming at you.
Not necessarily.
I mean, really? And you could see a lion that's coming at you. You could see a dog coming at you. A coyote.
Yeah, and they're smaller, but they're more stealth.
Okay. And do you know most snake bites don't kill you?
Okay. Again, I'm not taking that chance.
So you're scared of a snake. You'd rather run from a snake than a lion.
I would rather not run from either one of them, but at least I could see it comparatively.
So you want to watch
yourself?
yourself?
Be poisonous.
So you want to watch yourself die? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't want to watch myself.
So why would you be scared of a snake before a lion?
Because I've been freaked out with them since I was a kid.
Okay, there you go. Speedy is afraid of snakes. So Snug, anybody that wants to send a snake as a gift for the great speedster, you're more than welcome to. At 9:30, we'll be talking to Elite Sports New York, NY, NFL, and Giants writer Ryan Honey. He will be joining us. He's been on the show before, so it'll be fun. I'm sure he's excited as the Giants move on to the divisional game against, yes, my Philadelphia Eagles, my second favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking forward to seeing Jalen Hurts at 70%, which he claims to be 75 or above percent. We'll see. At 10 o'clock, we'll be talking to 9-year NFL defensive end, second founder of Mr. Mince Production, Jeremy Mincey. He'll be joining us. He played in 2007 to 2015, the Jaguars, the Broncos, and yes, the greatest team of all time, the Dallas Cowboys. John Harbaugh says there is a 200% chance the Ravens re-sign Lamar Jackson. So it's not 90, it's not 80, it's not 100. It's a 200% chance that they're going to bring back Lamar Jackson. We'll see. Russell Wilson advocates for the Broncos to pursue Sean Payton, and he wants him bad. So it'll be interesting. Sean Payton is looking at other jobs. I know he wants to move out west, but I think he wants to go to a hot climate. I don't know about the Broncos in Denver. I mean, it does get cold in the wintertime over there. The Nets say they are they're leaning towards giving Kyrie Irving a max contract in the offseason. I think they should lead outside of that, but that's just my opinion. Draymond Green says he is hinting at retirement in 5 years or less. Who cares then? 5 years? Draymond, what are you, 31, 32? 5 years will be 37, 38. Who cares? And divisional round previews and picks with our friend Derek, a.k.a. Mr. Mountain. So,
there's also a chance if he's feeling up to it, we might have Mark on as well later.
Mark Everett Kelly joining us. That'll be nice. Having good old Mark back on. I haven't heard from him in a while. Hoping that he is feeling better. So why don't we get into it? We were speaking yesterday about Lamar Jackson and his final couple of games with the Baltimore Ravens. And he didn't have a final couple of games with the Baltimore Ravens because he decided, I believe, to sit out and protect his ankle or foot injury that he had. Now, we spoke about this yesterday, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but we never actually heard John Harbaugh speak about Lamar Jackson. I always thought John Harbaugh was looking for a guy that could play the pocket type of quarterback position that we saw Joe Flacco play, and a lot of ex-Baltimore Ravens quarterbacks played, and when they were most successful in winning Super Bowls. And also a dominant defense, which showed at the end of the season that they could be. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is the guy. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is the guy that wants to be there in Baltimore and take them to the promised land since the last time they went there in 2012. What I do know is Lamar Jackson wants a lot of money. What I do know is Lamar Jackson has really tried to sell himself off the Baltimore Ravens on Twitter. Now, Lamar wants a lot of money, and if the Baltimore Ravens are willing to pay him, I think he stays there and they move forward with him. Do I think he is going to stay there, even though John Harbaugh has come out and said that he's 200% sure that he is going to be there? I don't believe it until he signs the paperwork. Now, is it a more of a chance that he is going to sign back with Baltimore? Absolutely, because no team is going to be willing to give up 2 first-round draft picks for Lamar Jackson because of his injuries, 1. And for 2, the guy has never really gotten past the first round except once. So the guy has not been successful in the playoffs. As we've seen, quarterback after quarterback have great seasons, a.k.a. Dak Prescott. Aaron Rodgers is another one who's only won 1 Super Bowl. We could go Peyton Manning, guys that have struggled in the playoffs. These are some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I'm not saying Dak is, but Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, these guys had problems winning in the playoffs. Maybe because of the team, maybe because of injury, maybe they just weren't any good when the time to really put their game and their team on their shoulders and play their lights out. They weren't those guys. But Lamar Jackson won an MVP. Lamar Jackson was the 30th pick in the first round when there were 4 or 5 quarterbacks drafted ahead of him because everybody thought that Lamar Jackson's game wouldn't fit the NFL game. Boy, were we wrong. Now the Baltimore Ravens are trying to figure out how to protect him and keep him. As we all know, that I believe, not just me, everybody else believes Lamar Jackson didn't play in that game, in the wild card weekend game, because he was protecting himself. 1, because he wants his contract. 2, because even though he's not 100%, the team didn't want to put up or shut up in the offseason, so he didn't want to put up and shut up in the playoffs. And 3, I think Lamar Jackson doesn't want to be there anymore. But if John Harbaugh, the coach, says that he is 200% sure, he will do everything he can to persuade and pursue this quarterback to still be the starting quarterback of this organization. Here's the problem. You fire the OC today, the offensive coordinator. Understandable. Lamar Jackson obviously didn't like him. Why would you do that if you don't know Lamar Jackson is going to be back? Obviously, they know something that we don't. And there is a story coming out that the Baltimore Ravens are willing to let Lamar Jackson decide who he wants his offensive coordinator to be moving forward. So what are you going to do? You going to have Lamar Jackson interview every single offensive coordinator? Are you going to have Lamar Jackson choose what wide receiver he wants to play with next year? And you're going to make a trade for him? Because if you're going to give Lamar Jackson everything he wants, why didn't you give him what he wanted last year when he asked you for a $240 million contract? Kyler Murray got that money. He didn't put up, he didn't shut up, and he put himself in a situation this year that his whole team couldn't stand him. Lamar Jackson played without a contract, without the guaranteed money that he believed he deserved, and he still put up the numbers. He still showed up to every single practice, and after he got hurt, he said, you know what? Screw this team. Why am I going to put myself at risk when I'm not getting paid for my talent? So now you have John Harbaugh speaking up. John, if you were going to speak up and you were going to say that Lamar Jackson was going to be here and you're 200% sure, you better hope it's not franchised, because he will not play this year. He will not. And you should have spoke up to the organization and told the organization, pay the man. What it shows me is there's no gratitude to this organization for the guy that's put himself out there, and he is the franchise. This franchise who overpaid, and I know Roquan Smith is a great linebacker. How do you pay a linebacker that you traded for at the trade deadline, who wasn't even your guy, and you pay him the second most money a linebacker has ever made in NFL history to a guy that just played a couple of games, a few games on your team, and you have Lamar Jackson dangling around, which, by the way, without Lamar Jackson, cost you a playoff game and maybe a run at a Super Bowl? Does that make sense? How could Baltimore pay somebody that is not their guy? You drafted this guy. You built your team around this guy. You built your offensive line around this guy. And you won't pay him. Now all of a sudden you're going to pay him? Why? Because he's bitching and moaning and he wants to be out of here? He's tweeted, or whatever you call it, tweeted. He's TikTok. He's done everything, telling the organization that he wants out if you're not willing to pay. Now all of a sudden you're going to pay him? It's disgraceful. Baltimore cost them their chance to make a run at the playoffs because of this year. And now you're going to go into the offseason, coulda, woulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever you want to say it. You're going to give him the money, which you should have gave him last year. And maybe he would have played in that game against the Bengals. And by the way, if he played in that game, I said it yesterday, they win that game. And they don't just win the game, they destroy the Bengals. Because the Bengals had problems stopping Huntley. Could you imagine if Lamar Jackson was playing? He's like 8 times faster than Huntley. He's got a better arm than Huntley. And I'm sure the Bengals would fear him more than they feared him. Hundley was the reason why they lost the game. And the dumb play calling.
Oh, yeah. Terrible clock management. John Harbaugh had an episode of Jason Garrett for about a minute.
I don't know what's going to happen in the offseason, but if I was Lamar Jackson, and obviously he doesn't have an agent, he is his own agent, I would look elsewhere. I would not stay there with the Baltimore Ravens. They have not given him a wide receiver. They have actually traded a wide receiver in the offseason, gave him practically to Arizona for nothing. Nothing. So that pissed him off in the offseason. Hollywood Brown went all the way to Arizona. You start a rookie who couldn't play his first year. He was a first-round draft pick. You start him. He couldn't stay healthy all season long. Their running games, obviously, they lost a running back. They gained a running back. They lost a running back. They signed a running back. They couldn't stay healthy. And this offensive line, which, by the way, traded another offensive lineman 2 years ago. Thank you to, I guess, the GM and ownership and coaching. They traded away Brown. He goes all the way to Kansas City and put Lamar Jackson even at more risk of getting hurt.
Not to mention Ronnie Stanley has also missed most of last year and most of this year, too, as their bookend left tackle. And besides Kevin Zeitler, that they brought in, they haven't really done a great job replacing the rest of the line.
Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah, exactly.
The same Kevin Zeitler that played for the Giants.
That's right. And for the Bengals and for a bunch of other teams.
The Browns.
The Browns, yep. So, yeah, that's the guy that you're trying to patch your offensive line with when Ronnie Stanley's been dealing with injury issues. Good luck. So there's two definitely extreme measures that I think that Lamar Jackson's quota is going to have here. One, the Ravens are going to have to give him close to almost all guaranteed money if there's any shot.
If I were the Ravens, I'm paying him $45 million.
Yeah. Either way,
make him happy.
The percentage of the contract is going to have to be probably 80 to 90% guaranteed money at this point, because Lamar Jackson is not going to stay there otherwise. Or the coaching staff is going to get a major overhaul, and that might include John Harbaugh. You were saying at the beginning of the season you thought John Harbaugh was on the hot seat.
I still do.
And maybe
this might be the last year that you see John Harbaugh there.
Maybe this is the ultimatum. Maybe he thinks, okay, John Harbaugh has not done a good job of helping me. He fixed the offense for me in the beginning of my career. I won an MVP. Since then, all he's done is gotten hurt, and the Ravens have not done well at drafting wide receivers, and maybe that's on the ownership too. Maybe they've not evolved. We were talking about that with the Packers a lot. They've been sticking to the ways that have worked for them for years, and all of a sudden it's falling apart in a league. You need more wide receivers, and they're stubborn to draft one early. They drafted Hollywood Brown, yes, in the first round. That was it. They really haven't done a good job at trying to pursue targets that are not veteran wide receivers either. So that's one of the other things, that maybe Greg Roman is the first piece of the puzzle that will fall with this coaching staff.
John Suggs says because it's Baltimore, LOL, he don't have to sign a franchise tag. And if they let him walk, they will be saving $47.5 million. Now tell me what they can get for that. Absolutely nothing. What are they going to get for $47.5 million? One, is Derek Carr going to go over there when he has no wide receiver?
Right.
No, he's not going there. Is Aaron Rodgers going over there with no wide receivers? He could stay in Green Bay. That would be a no. Would Tom Brady go over there to Baltimore? And we all know he doesn't like John Harbaugh. Yeah. We all know about, what do they call that? Was it Deflategate? Thank you to John Harbaugh. He's not going over there. Jimmy Garoppolo will definitely not go over there. So who are they going to bring in for $47.5 million? The answer is tick-tock, tick-tock. No one.
Maybe start with the two wide receivers.
Nobody.
Maybe you could get a quarterback after that.
Nobody is going to go over there and play for the Baltimore Ravens with no wide receivers and no weapons on the outside. They're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. And you're going to say, well, Mark Andrews is a tight end. That's what he is. They tried to use him as a wide receiver in that game against the Bengals. And let me tell you, whoever was calling the plays is an absolute idiot. And why not? They fired him.
Mm-hmm.
How do you put a tight end on the outside? And it shows you the depth of this team and really where this team is. Why would Lamar want to go back there? And you're saying let him go? Is that what you're saying, John? If you're saying let Lamar go, by all means do that, because it sets your team back. First of all, you're drafting in the 20s. You made the playoffs. So you're drafting in the 20s, so you're not getting a quarterback. Not this year. So you're pretty much going into the season next year with Huntley. Are you going to win with Huntley? You almost won against the Bengals. You were very lucky this year because everything fell right because Lamar Jackson played about 75% of the games until week 12 or 13.
Right. And the other two games, they squeaked by the Steelers and the Broncos. I mean,
you're not squeaking by the Steelers next year. They have money, and they're a team on the rise. And Mike Tomlin, again this year, played, got this team to play hard for him. And John Harbaugh, this is the problem for John. The team, I think he's losing the locker room. I do. He's been there a long time. He's not a player's coach. I think he's very well respected as far as I know as a coach in that organization. But if Lamar Jackson don't like him, if Lamar Jackson don't believe in him, why would the organization, if they decide to sign him, keep John Harbaugh there if they lose this season without any wide receiver help?
Mm-hmm. There's a difference of talent and identity, too. And the Ravens really have not evolved to that, too, whether it's Eric DeCosta, their new GM, or the front office, or the ownership, just trying to
John
stick to those defensive values.
By the way, I'm sorry to cut you off. John says, no, I'm not saying let him go. I'm saying by letting the best QB that's been there ever, basically, to just save $47 million is stupid, and tell me what draft picks they have. Okay, so I didn't get what you were saying. So you're pretty much saying they should give him and pay the man. And they should.
They should.
But even if they pay the man, does he want to be there? Honestly, everything that I've read, I said wed, but everything I've read, and by the way, I'm sucking what do they call them? Menthol cough drops, okay? Because my throat and I'm always coughing. So excuse me if I'm tripping on some of my words tonight. Right now, if I was Lamar Jackson, I don't want to be there. The organization is really put money into the defense and not put any money into the offense. What money have they put in to the offensive line?
Just Stanley, that's it, and Ziegler.
Nothing. What have they put in when it comes to the wide receivers?
Yikes.
Nothing. What have they put in when it comes to the running backs? J.K. Dobbins right now is still under his regular contract.
Right.
He's not getting paid a lot of money. What are they going to do when he becomes a free agent? They're going to let him go.
Mm-hmm. Another one that was frustrated with the play calling, too, by the way.
Where are they going to go in the offseason? Who is available? There is no wide receivers. We were talking early this week about Hopkins. He'll be available. There's numerous amount of teams interested in DeAndre Hopkins. Tennessee, the Giants. There's a load of teams. Do you think the Baltimore Ravens are going to outspend or outpay DeAndre Hopkins if they trade for him? They're not, because after you trade for him, you have to renegotiate his deal.
And do the Ravens really want to go down that road again? How many good veteran wide receivers have failed when have come over there? Outside of Steve Smith, pretty much all of them.
And Bolden.
Too. Yeah, right. But they've done this path a lot because they can't develop it themselves, and that's a big issue.
The interesting part of the whole Lamar Jackson thing really situates and settles to one man and one man only, and that's Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson wants to be there, Lamar Jackson will stay there. He's earned the money. And after watching Baltimore get eliminated the way they got eliminated against the Bengals, and by the way, the Bengals played like garbage.
Yeah.
They played like garbage. And I don't want to hear that the Baltimore defense was so fantastic. They weren't. They weren't. There was nothing that stood out to me in that game that say, oh my God, the Bengals just completely got shut down. Joe Burrow looked horrible in the game. He did. Couldn't make the throws. Jamar Chase dropped a lot of clutch balls when he needed to. They didn't throw the ball to T. Higgins enough. And this guy has been their best wide receiver all season long. I didn't understand the offensive play calling. If anything, the Bengals should fire their offensive coordinator at the end of the season as well.
That's their head coach.
So fire him if they don't squeak out of this game against the Buffalo Bills. What I do know and what I have seen about Lamar Jackson is he's earned every single penny he's asking for. And if Kyler Murray's getting it, if Aaron Rodgers is getting it, and every one of these quarterbacks, these elite quarterbacks, quote unquote, are getting it, and you know the team is built around him, pay the man. And if you didn't pay him now and he doesn't respect you enough to stay there, let him go. Trade him and get the most you possibly can for him. I don't know where you're going to go at quarterback because nobody's going to want to play there. There is no weapons. There is none. Mark Andrews is a good player. He's one weapon. He's a tight end. And if you're going to run your offense through your tight end, and I don't want to hear Kansas City, okay? Because, yes, Travis Kelce is probably the best tight end in football. They've got a lot of other weapons.
There's a big difference between Andy Reid and literally every other offensive coordinator in the league.
They have a lot of other weapons that they can use in this offense to be successful. Baltimore, zilch. And that's the problem. And why did they stop running the ball in the second half? Only coaching, a.k.a. John Harbaugh, and their offensive coordinator, and they had to drop the hammer on somebody. So why not drop it on the offensive coordinator? Mm-hmm. And they'll after this, it will be dropped on John Harbaugh if this happens again. When we come back, we will be talking to Elite Sports, NY, NFL, and Giants writer Ryan Honey here on the Sports Loudmouths.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Six 672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Sarah Marks. My co-host, Speeder. I need to go to the bathroom, Peter. Check out our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows, the Sports Loudmouths, which airs every single Wednesday live at 7 p.m. and Thursdays at 9 p.m. 3-hour show. Great guests, great content, as always, in all the shows throughout our network. It is live. They are not podcasts, so you can tune in and actually call the shows. So definitely call us up, 631-672-3108. I will say this before we get into our guest. New York hockey, this last 2 games against Boston has been absolutely horrible. The Boston Bruins knocked off the Islanders yesterday 4-1 and knocked off the Rangers 3-1 tonight. So shout out to all New York hockey, how garbage it has played against the Boston Bruins this week. Now, our very special guest, a fan of the show, a friend of the show, and a very big New York Giants writer. We are now talking to Elite Sports, NY, NFL, and Giants writer, Ryan Honey. Ryan, what's up, man?
Guys, what's going on? Thanks for having me on. Can you guys hear me fine? Is this good?
Yeah, that's good, man. We got you.
We got thunderstorms here in tri-state area, so my
Wi-Fi
was like a little
Where are
spotty,
you located right now?
I'm in Upper East Side, Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Ryan Hickey's up on the Upper East Side, so and we're probably going to be hit with some rain. We were hit with rain earlier today. It's on and off. It'll be on and off for the next 2 days, I'm hearing, Thursday and Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So we need it. I think we need cold, okay? It's winter and it feels like spring, okay? It's horrible.
It's ridiculous, yeah. It's like it was like 51, I think, yesterday. Like it's January 18th. Like
it's the middle. Well, it's really, I would say, a month and a half into the winter, and we see a little bit of snow. It's like 20-degree weather. No, it's 50 degrees, 60 degrees.
I know.
You see people walking outside without coats, dancing around in the streets. great to New Yorkers. Thank you.
Errol liked when he was the only one doing that, walking out without a coat.
Hold on one second. It doesn't matter if it's 20 or 15 degrees. I'm usually out there with a wife beater, shorts, and flip-flops. I don't see the cold out here to be cold. And over the last couple of weeks, 30-degree weather is like spring weather to me. I don't think it's that cold. So
in mid-January, yes, that is spring weather.
Yeah. Anyways, we had a lot to talk to you about with the New York Giants. Before we do that, how's everything going, man? We haven't spoken to you in a couple of months. How you feeling? How's your family doing with everything that's gone on with COVID, flu, and all the crazy stuff?
Life is good. Giants are good, so that's always a good thing. My bets are not, so that's basically how life goes. But things are great. Last time we spoke, I think they're coming off the big win over Baltimore, and now they've gone from the underdog team to now a lot of people thought they could win in Minnesota. They did. And now I'm seeing. I feel like there's a good energy around this team right now. I don't know. I was going into the week thinking no one's going to think that the Giants are beating the Eagles. I think people are rallying around this team, and I'm one of them. I think they could go into Philly and beat this team. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. Absolutely not, because Philly's good, but I think the Giants have become one of those teams where Joe Beningo said this on The Fan earlier this week. They've gone from a good story to a team that can make some noise. And I think you're starting to see that over the last couple of weeks. But, life is good. Giants are good. Everything's good. So can't complain.
We are talking to Elite Sports NY NFL Giants writer Ryan Honey. Okay. Now, everybody here knows I'm a Jet fan. I try to keep it to myself because I'm a radio show host, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm paying or playing favorites, okay? Even though everybody thinks I am. I don't like the Giants, but I don't hate the Giants. I love Daniel Jones. I've always liked Daniel Jones. Anybody that knows me, when the Giants drafted him and Gettleman was getting beaten up, I said in 5 or 6 years, people are going to say that Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in this class. This year, he has over 3,000 yards throwing, 600 yards running. Only 2 other quarterbacks in the NFL has done that. He did something in the playoffs that really no quarterback has ever done. 2 touchdowns, 300 yards, and 76 yards run, and he actually won the game. That's something that obviously a quarterback's never done in NFL history. So these are all things that stand out. Dable, to me, in my opinion, is coach of the year. No talent whatsoever. And let's be honest. I know you're a Giants guy. I know you're a Giants fan. Besides Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and maybe Dexter Lawrence, and maybe we think Thibodeau is a player, that's all they have. They're really just, glued together, that team. The secondary is glued together. Janoris Jackson, come on, is he a number 1 guy? He's not even a number 3 guy on the Jets, okay? So and they played 8 DBs, which was very interesting. And the game plan by Wink Martindale was fantastic. And I think that's what really threw off Justin Jefferson. And they had to depend a little bit more on, other guys, and which probably cost the Minnesota Vikings a chance of winning the game. But what are your thoughts going into a game this weekend? I know you said you still believe this team has a chance. What are your thoughts going into a game in an Eagles Philadelphia stadium that's going to be very, very loud, very entertaining to all the Giant fans that will probably show up to the game? And the fact that Jalen Hurts came out and said that he believes he's 80% healthy going into the game. What are your thoughts to that when you heard Jalen Hurts say that?
Well, it's tough to overlook. It's tough to overlook the amount of talent that Philly has, but you also can't forget, as you said, Jalen Hurts is dealing with his shoulder injury. 2 weeks ago, this Giants team lost to the Eagles by 6, and the Giants had Davis Webb under center, and the Eagles are fighting for the number 1 seed. It comes down to the fact that the Eagles are banged up right now. Jalen Hurts is banged up, and the Giants are playing the best football they've played all year. This team had a 6-1 start. Then they had a little bit of a slump. They had the loss to Detroit, Dallas, tied Washington. This team, between the Colts game that clinched them the playoff, and then this game against Minnesota, and even against Philly, as I just said, with the backups in place, not even the 3rd string practice squad quarterback in place, this team is playing red hot. They've had this, the secondary is getting healthier. Adoree Jackson's back. Xavier McKinney's back. And I think that played a big difference in limiting Justin Jefferson in the win last week. I think this receiving corps, not so much the entire receiving corps, but Isaiah Hodgins is coming together. I mean, the chemistry you see from Jones to Hodgins, that's formulating really well. I mean, this is a receiving corps that we had question marks about all year, and it seems like, at least for this playoff run, they found their guy in Isaiah Hodgins. And with Daniel Jones, I mean, it's take away the numbers from the season or from the Vikings games. Just take away the numbers. Just do the eye test with Daniel Jones. He just looks so much more comfortable, confident, and poised than he's ever had before. I know you brought up the Jets before. I compare it to Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones has made it look easier.
Don't bring up Zach Wilson on this show. Until next year, while he's sitting the bench, when either Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback and the starting quarterback for this organization. Yeah. Please, I want to hear Zach Wilson. Don't compare Daniel Jones to Zach Wilson. There is no comparison, no closeness to both organizations when it comes to quarterback play, because the Giants actually have a quarterback that they can build with, and the Jets don't even know where they are at the quarterback position.
Yeah. No, you're totally right, because Daniel Jones looks like he's just getting more confident and more comfortable than he has been, than he was the first 3 years of his career. Meanwhile, Zach's making it look like making the quarterback
which is crazy,
like the hardest
right?
job ever.
Which is crazy, right? Because when you look at the Jets, their talent is endless. They have more talent than the Giants could ever wish they had. And if Daniel Jones had the Jets' talent, they'd go all the way to the Super Bowl this year. It's not even a question. So it's crazy what a quarterback can do and how they can change the outlining of where the team is going to go. So going into this game, and I by the way, we are talking to Elite Sports NY NFL Giants writer Ryan Honey. We're going to go into this game. It's very rare that a team in the same division beats the other team 3 times in a year. That's where I think the Giants might have the advantage in this game. Not talent, not the quarterback play, because I still think Jalen Hurts had a better season than Daniel Jones. They're kind of even, but I like Jalen Hurts a little bit better, but he's not healthy, and Daniel Jones is. What really stands out is the Philadelphia Eagles, push it or not, they won both games. Now they're going into the playoffs. They are limping into the playoffs, even though they got the first week off. The Giants have the confidence, and the Eagles, let's be honest, are going into a game where they think this is a foregone conclusion that they're going to win. So what are your thoughts to that the Giants could actually be one of very few teams to lose 3 games against the same team in your division? I think it's only happened like 2 times.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll put it this way. Philly is a more talented team. Philly's a better team. Philly has the better quarterback. Philly has the better roster. I think the Giants are in a better spot right now, just because of the way they've been playing as of late and because of the injuries the Eagles have been dealing with as of late. I mean, you take, obviously, and I totally agree with you, Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback than Daniel Jones this year. I mean, Jalen Hurts was an MVP candidate before the injury. Daniel Jones was... Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones, listen, Daniel Jones had a great season, and Daniel Jones should get the contract extension, but Daniel Jones wasn't an MVP candidate. Jalen Hurts was. But I think the Giants are in a better situation with this game because they're coming into this game with the momentum that they've had the last couple of weeks. And as you said, it's so tough to beat. It's tough to beat a team twice in the same season. Try 3 times. And we've seen this happen before. We've seen these number 1 playoff seeds crumble in the divisional round when they're coming off the first round bye. You know, they're a little out of rhythm because they had the week of rest, they had the week off, and even when the Eagles were playing their starters 2 weeks ago, as I said before, they only beat the Giants by 6. They only beat David Sweat by 6. They're not the Eagles right now are not the team they were 10, 11 weeks ago, and the Giants are better than the team they were 10, 11 weeks ago. So I think the Giants for this specific game Saturday night, I think they're in the better situation, even though they're on the road in that hostile Philly environment. I think the Giants can win this game solely based off of the fact that they're in the better situation than their division rivals.
So I want to go back to the defenses, particularly with Wink Martindale, because he's a guy that's normally known to blitz, but the Giants did a good job, I think, actually just trusting the 4-man rush, especially with how well the interior played in this game. And like you were saying, they played a lot with 7 DBs and a lot of rookies really standing out on that defense. So do you think the approach is very similar to against the Eagles, or do you think they got to start mixing it up with those blitzes again?
I think they got to start mixing it up because at the same time, you're going against a different type of quarterback. Kirk Cousins obviously is not the dual threat quarterback that Jalen Hurts is. So I think you need to, they have to have all the investments that they have made in the defensive line and the pass rush the last couple of years, whether it was Joe Shane doing it, or whether it was Dave Gettleman doing it beforehand. That pass rush needs to come together Saturday because Jalen Hurts will dial it up if he has the time in the pocket, especially with the receivers he has alongside him and Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Goddard. They cannot give him time. So while I think the Giants need to put, as you said, 7 defensive backs out there, they need to bring the heat. They need to get production out of Thibodeau, Ojulari if he's healthy. He's questionable with the quad injury, obviously. Dexter, Leonard Williams. They need to get production out of that front 7, and they need to disrupt Jalen Hurts' timing, and they need to disrupt the pocket, or else if he has time, he will dial it up more ways than one. I don't care if he has a shoulder injury. He's that talented where he can do that. So they absolutely need to mix it up. They're going against a better offense than Minnesota. They're going against one of the better offense that they faced all year. Wink Martindale, if there's a game for Wink Martindale to be a little bit indecisive, a little bit unpredictable, this is the game to do it. He's got to bring multiple sets against this Eagles offense.
We are talking to Elite Sports NY NFL Giants writer Ryan Honey. I would agree with you, and this is the best offensive line in football. Johnson will be back this week. They're going to dial up every kind of blitz package you possibly could see. Wink is all about those blitz packages, and you've seen on third downs what they did to Justin Jefferson. They brought 8 DBs or 7 DBs on the field. They made sure that they had the coverage that they had in the open field, especially zoning the wide receivers. It didn't work on Hawkinson, but it worked on Justin Jefferson. Only had like 45 yards throughout the game at 7 receptions. Definitely a different kind of game plan. This game plan is going to be a little bit more interesting because you have A.J. Brown, who is beastly, and we've seen what he's done in the playoffs with Tennessee. So we know that he can play in the big game. They have Smith, who really last year showed what he can do, but now his second year this year has the opportunity to really take his game to another level in the playoffs. And they have one of the best running games in all of football. So the Giants are going to have to figure out what would be better to stop. Do we stop the running game and make them become one-dimensional and try to cover it as best as we can? Or do we stop and knock off one of the big wide receivers and maybe make Smith try to beat us in a game of, cat and mouse? So what are your thoughts on that situation and where the Giants go with Wink Martindale and how he's going to run his defense?
Yeah. So like I said before, bringing the pressure is going to be a big thing, but they also need to take out the run. I mean, if you look at the first meeting between these teams, I think the Eagles had 4 rushing touchdowns. Miles Sanders had over 140 yards. I mean, you have to take out, and then obviously you have Boston Scott, who's scored 27 touchdowns against the Giants in 6 games. It seems like they need to take out that portion of the offense as well, because they need to, obviously Hurts is very talented, but he's young. He's inexperienced. He will make mistakes. He'll throw picks just like Daniel Jones has if he gets pressured. So they need to take out the run first and foremost, and then they need to bring the heat on passing downs, because if they don't, it's going to be a long night. And they need to get, and the number one thing, they need to get off the field. They cannot succumb to these long, when the Giants defense is on the field, they cannot succumb to these long drives that is going to tire out the entire, because if you look at their rankings with run defense, the Giants were one of the worst run defending teams in the league this year. You need to take out that, and the Eagles are going to try to exploit that. You need to take that out. You need to take out the run game, force Hurts to beat you through the air, and when that happens, you bring the heat. Throw in, if you're Martindale, throw in different sets, be a little bit unpredictable, as I said, and go from there. But the number one thing, they got to get off the field on third down, and they've been good at that for much of the year. They got to continue that on Saturday night.
So the Eagles secondary, obviously being a huge strength with Slay and Bradbury and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson now coming back. And the Giants receiving core, like we mentioned, not a big strength on paper for them. So what do you think are the best ways to try to exploit that and maybe win some matchup advantage just coaching-wise?
Yeah, play action. Play action and a lot of Isaiah Hodgins, really. I mean, they're going to be biting on the run a lot because obviously Saquon is still a huge part of this offense and has been this entire year. They're going to be game planning towards him. You got to utilize the play action, especially on heavy passing down, especially on third down. And I think the Giants have done a great job with that as of late. And they, as I said earlier, Daniel Jones and Isaiah Hodgins need to maintain this chemistry that they've built over the last month and a half. I mean, Hodgins went from a waiver wire pickup no one ever heard of to now he's scoring touchdowns in 4 of the last 5 games, had a 105-yard day against Minnesota. They need to get him involved. It's obvious he's become Daniel Jones' number 1 target. He's more consistent than Richie James as well as Darius Slayton. They need to get him involved. So they need to utilize the play action, get this defense to bite on the run, and then they got to take advantage of the defense from there. But it's got to be Hodgins has to have a big game. Obviously,
I hear you keep saying Isaiah Hodgins, and that's great that you guys think Isaiah Hodgins is the number 1 guy, and he's got so much great chemistry with Daniel Jones. They played the Minnesota Vikings second game. Okay, this isn't the Eagles secondary, which probably was ranked 2nd or 3rd throughout the league when it comes to stops when healthy. They have one of the best intercepting guys this year in Johnson, who played fantastic before he got hurt. You have Darius Slay, who shut down Justin Jefferson by himself this year. Okay, this isn't the same secondary you played against Minnesota. So I know you like Hodgins. I know Giant fans are like, wow, this guy's a real deal. We've got something here. Come on, guys. He's Isaiah Hodgins. He's a waiver guy. He's like Mike White with the Jets. I spoke about Mike White all year. Oh, we found a franchise. 5 times waived by the Jets, 2 times waived by the Cowboys. Give me a break. This guy is no good. I'm not saying Isaiah Hodgins hasn't played well. Do not, I repeat, if you think Isaiah Hodgins is going to do what he did against Minnesota, boy, oh boy, and I love you, Ryan, you guys are going to be very upset when he puts up numbers like 30 yards in this game and he doesn't sniff a chance to get a touchdown.
First of all, if the Eagles secondary is allowing Kenny Galladay one-handed touchdown catches, I think anything's possible with Isaiah Hodgins. So I think no, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, it is definitely sort of like a Mike White case where there's one or 2 good games, and I think that goes back to the fact that this franchise and these fan bases haven't seen much success, if at all, in the last 5 years. So once one player is has a great game, it's like they're the franchise. No, but I think obviously Isaiah Hodgins isn't a true number 1 in this league. But at the same time, what other option do the Giants have on a consistent basis? I mean, Darius Slayton's a nice player. Darius Slayton's had chemistry with Daniel Jones. I mean, they were the same rookie class. But, is Darius Slayton going to be as consistent as Isaiah Hodgins has been the last month? I don't think so.
I think he's been throughout the season more consistent. Hodgins was on the waiver wire. Slayton was doing it week in and week out. And I thought, even though I think Darius Slayton's more of a 3 or a 4 on any other football team, he's played throughout the season as a number 2 guy. So could they use him next year as a number 2 guy? I don't see the Giants doing that. I think Slayton's a number 3. Hodgins will not be on this team next year. I can guarantee you he will not be on this team.
Hodgins will get attention in free agency. That's the thing.
Really?
He will get Yeah. Oh, totally. There were various teams that would take a flyer on him. I mean, you can't have enough wide receiver talent, especially
How
in
much
the
do you
league.
think he's going to get in the offseason?
Oh, not a lot. No, I'm not saying he's locking down Tyreek Hill money. I'm saying he's a guy that
he's a $2 million player at best. He's going to make about $2 million.
That might be true, but at the same time, he's their best receiver right now. So it's like, who else are you gonna, are you gonna rely on Kenny Galladay as much as you rely on him? Kenny Galladay's getting paid.
I could see the Giants in the offseason trying to trade a pick to try to get rid of Kenny Galladay's contract. Maybe they give up a 3rd round and get rid of that contract. They're not keeping Kenny Galladay.
You're totally right. He's all but out of East Rutherford after this year.
But I think there's Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be available in the offseason. Maybe they trade for him. Maybe they look at, the waiver. Maybe some of these wide receivers are going to be dropped. There's not many on the list this offseason. To find a number one, you really got to find them in the draft. The Giants are drafting in the 20s. So more than likely, they're not going to get a number one guy over there. Maybe they get lucky. We've seen guys. St. Brown. He was drafted in the third round or whatever. He's become a star in the league. So you might get lucky and find somebody. But they haven't had a star wide receiver since Odell Beckham. And they tried to bring him back. Nobody knows what's going on with him if he's 100% healthy. But that's on another world. Maybe they bring Odell Beckham back next year. Who knows?
I thought of that recently. About like a month ago, I thought about it if they would bring back Odell. I don't know.
If they had Odell Beckham on this roster right now, then I would say the Giants might have a chance, because Odell Beckham is one of those guys that just, he does these spectacular things. And he can run routes that other people can't. So it makes sense that if Odell Beckham was on this roster right now, I could say maybe the Giants, maybe I take a flyer on the Giants in this game.
Yeah, but I hear you. I thought for a little bit like this. I didn't think the Giants were going to get Odell this season. I just didn't see it. I didn't think he was going to be healthy, and obviously he isn't, or else he'd be on the Cowboys right now, probably. I thought of it for a little bit, maybe in this coming offseason, they try to bring back Odell on a reasonable deal and also try to draft a receiver in the first round. Because I think they could bring back Hodgins, but Hodgins is their best option right now. That doesn't mean Hodgins is going to be their best option next year, obviously, because they still have a lot of moves to make in the offseason. But yeah, I thought for a little maybe Odell come back, but I don't know. I'd have to see how they operate in free agency. I mean, that's something that would take the city by storm if Odell's back.
100%. He wants.
Oh my God.
He wants to be back. As everybody knows, we are talking to Elite Sports, NY, NFL, and Giants writer Ryan Honey.
So an X factor, an under-the-radar player that you think on both sides of the ball will be key for them to be able to upset the Eagles.
Offensive side of the ball, got to be Andrew Thomas. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with Evan Neal on the offensive side of the ball. Evan Neal struggled against Minnesota. I think Philly's going to attack him. He's got to step up. That pocket needs to be clean for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones cannot be rushed into making mistakes and committing turnovers, which we've seen. Obviously, we didn't see it as much this year, but we've seen it various times throughout his career. So Evan Neal has got to be rock solid at right tackle. They have to protect Daniel Jones. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think you got to go. I know I said a lot about the pass rush, but I think you got to go with Adoree Jackson. I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job making adjustments against the Vikings, because if you saw that opening drive for Minnesota when they went right down the field, pretty sure Jefferson had 3-4 catches on that drive alone. I'm watching the game like, oh my, they're going to crush Adoree Jackson all 60 minutes. But the adjustments he made after that first drive to lock Jefferson down, he has to step up in that same type of way against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Or else, as I said before, Jalen Hurts is going to dial it up. So I think Adoree Jackson is going to have to play a big role on Sunday. He's got a big matchup going against this receiving corps in this talented quarterback in Hurts. Jackson's got to have a big game. So, and I think if he does, that's going to be a deciding factor, at least on that side of the ball.
Dexter Lawrence is fantastic. He's been their best all-around player to me all season long. He's been the most consistent. For anybody that took shots at Dave Gettleman saying that he didn't know what he was doing when it comes to drafting, a lot of these players have turned out to be pretty good. Thomas, who I think is the second best tackle in football this year, he was fantastic. Saquon Barkley, even though he's fighting, health and stuff like that, I didn't think he was a third-round draft pick. You never draft a running back as the third pick of the first round. But I still think he's a fantastic talent. Daniel Jones, he was right about him. He was dead on with Daniel Jones. There was a lot of, even Evan Ingram, who's now playing very well with Jacksonville. I think it was maybe a little bit of a mistake letting him go now that you see what he's doing with Jacksonville. But it's amazing when you look at some of these players. But Dexter Lawrence, he's going to be asking for a lot of money this offseason. He's going to get it. If it's not from the Giants, it'll be from somebody else. What are your thoughts of the growth of Dexter Lawrence over the last couple of years? Coming from Clemson and obviously being drafted by Gettleman and really just doing the things that we expect a star defensive tackle to do in the big game on the biggest stage in the playoffs.
Well, the thing that is very key in his improvement is he's gone from just this, average to maybe a bit above average run stuffer to now he's a dual threat pass rusher. And that's huge. That's why Aaron Donald is so good. That's why Aaron Donald is so valuable. Now, I'm not saying Dexter Lawrence is going to get the money that Aaron Donald makes.
No.
But you see that next level of his game come to fruition this past season. That pass rushing ability and that pass rushing aspect of his game, which wasn't all that existed for the first couple of years. And I think that's a big testament to Wink Martindale and his blitz heavy scheme. It's helped get the most out of guys like Dexter Lawrence and Aziz and, Ojulari when he's healthy, and Thibodeau, because it's so blitz heavy that they're able to show off those abilities that they may have not been able to show off in previous defensive schemes. So I think Dexter Lawrence, his growth this year, he's gone from, as I said, an average run stuffer to he's one of the better young defensive linemen in the NFL right now, if not one of the best defensive linemen, period, in the NFL right now, at least this past season. And I think a lot of that has to do with the scheme. I think a lot of it has to do with coaching and, those things unlocking the pass rushing abilities that Dexter Lawrence probably always had, but wasn't able to exactly unlock it under when he was playing for, say, James Betcher in 2019 or Patrick Graham the last couple of years. So I think the pass rushing abilities have been outstanding compared to what they were with Dexter Lawrence from 2019 to last year.
There's a player that I've compared Dexter Lawrence to that I remember over the last, 15 years. And I don't know if you remember him. He played for the Jets. He played for Carolina. Chris Jenkins is a guy that reminds me of Dexter Lawrence. Now, I don't know if he's as dominant. So far, this year, he's been a dominant force. Chris Jenkins was a dominant force for like 7 years in the NFL before he got hurt. He reminds me, his game, the terrifying game that he plays where he beats up the centers and the guards and he throws them around. That's the way Chris Jenkins played. So, I think Dexter Lawrence is talented. I don't know if he's Quinn Williams, but he's right there with some of the better defensive linemen in the league. He's moving on up to those guys. It took Quinn Williams a little bit to figure out his game and what he is as a player. And he's 23, 24 years old. Dexter Lawrence is 23, 24 years old and he's starting to figure it out himself. So I love what Dexter Lawrence is doing.
So my question is about the Daniel Jones running aspect of it, because the Eagles are a lot like the 49ers, where they're really a four-man rush and they play a lot of combo coverages, but they don't blitz a lot. Now, they have Hassan Reddick, who can move around as a linebacker, as a defensive end that could do that too. But do you think the Giants will be able to have Daniel Jones designed runs the same way that they did against the Vikings, who I thought would do a better job stopping it the second time around with their 5 defensive lineman hybrid defenses?
Yeah. No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, he's been using his legs better than he ever has before. And obviously we knew he was he's not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but he's a mobile quarterback. And we've seen that throughout his years with the Giants, but it's coming to fruition. The running abilities that Daniel Jones has, we're seeing them a lot more this year. And that's a testament to Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka. Against Philly, I don't see how you can't design runs for him. He's one. If it's not Saquon Barkley running the ball, it's him running the ball. It's not really Matt Breida. It's not so much Gary Brightwell. It's Daniel Jones. So that they need to absolutely design runs for him. They have to use his legs. They have to take advantage of the dual threat capabilities that he has. Because Jones has been great throwing the ball this year, but if you take out that entire running aspect and then the ability for him to get outside the pocket and pick up 8 yards on first down. Like stuff like that goes a little bit unnoticed, but they're huge in the grand scheme of things. They can't take that out because that's how the Giants formulate drives with a limited offense in terms of talent. They keep drives alive by Jones getting outside the pocket, using his legs effectively when he needs to. So I think Daboll's probably scheming up design runs as we speak right now. They have to take advantage of that aspect that Daniel Jones provides. Or it's not going to, if they force him to throw 50 times on Saturday night, it's not going to turn out well because he'll make a mistake at some point. I know he's been great this year, but if you ask Daniel Jones to throw 50 times, he's probably going to make a mistake at some point. So you have to also use that level of his game against this defense.
We are talking to Elite Sports, New York, NFL, and Giants writer, Ryan Honey. It's interesting. My last question for you is pretty simple. you look into the offseason, Giants win or lose, they can make a run. It could very much happen. We've seen the Giants as a wild card team go all the way. We've seen it twice with Eli Manning. Heck, it could happen this year. They have the coach. They have the momentum. If the Giants don't make it, where do you see and what do you see the Giants doing in the offseason to make this team that much better?
Yeah, they got to go receiver. I mean, I think regardless of where they finish in the draft, whether it's, the spot they're at now or number 32, I think 31, I think the Dolphins don't have their pick. Whatever it is, regardless of where they finish, they got to go receiver, because they still, at the same time, they could win it all this year. They still don't have a lot of talent at that position. They need to, and if they're going to lock in Daniel Jones for another couple of years, whether if they're going to sign him to an extension, they need to get him weapons. It can't just be Saquon. It can't just be Daniel Bellinger here and there. It can't just be, Isaiah Hodgins having, this run that he's on right now, but the other receivers aren't doing too much. They need to get receivers in that building. So I think, as I said before, I thought Odell was an option. Maybe he still is. And I think a receiver in the first round is also an option. I think that's definitely a position they have to target. And I think cornerback is also another position they have to target. Adoree Jackson's got one more year left on his deal. And that other cornerback spot, Fabian Moreau, has been great this year, but who knows if he's a long-term answer. Same goes with guys like Cordell Flott or Aaron Robinson. They need to beef up the secondary because the depth in that secondary is not ideal. The starters in that secondary aren't always ideal. So I think if there are two positions they're going to target, it's got to be wide receiver and cornerback, which is crazy to me because 5 months ago, we were sure that it was going to be quarterback first round. We didn't, at least I didn't think Daniel Jones was going to pan out and they were going to have to reset this whole draft and develop type of thing. But wide receiver and cornerback, and especially in a passing league, those are two highly valuable, important positions. They have to target those, whether it's in free agency and or early in the draft. Those are the two spots they got to address.
All right, my last question, just very simple. Your score pick, realistic score pick. Who do you think wins? What is the score?
Go ahead, say it. I'm waiting for it.
24-23, Giants.
Oh, 1 point game.
Yeah, I know. I saw Mike Florio make the same exact score, so I think I'm okay. I think I have some. I think, but I think usually if I try to do a score prediction, I try to make it field goal heavy because I know that offense, that team can rely on Graham Gano at times. But I'm thinking Giants find the end zone a couple of times. I think Daniel has a big game. I can see Saquon finding the end zone once or twice. I got to go 24-23. I really think, as I said, it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a fantastic divisional playoff game. But I think the Giants are just, with injuries and the way they're playing, I think the Giants are in a better spot.
You're not going to bet against the Giants. I knew you weren't. That's all right. That's all right. Listen,
I usually do, but I mean, right now with the way they're playing, how could I bet against them now? So
I mean, listen, I love that there are two New York teams still there. I don't want to see the Giants win a Super Bowl again, but maybe it'll give. No, and listen, everything fell together for the Giants. It was an easy schedule for them this year. You can only beat who's on your schedule. It worked out for them, and they could make a run. Anything's possible. It is playoff football, and some teams just don't show up to the games. And as well as I think the Cowboys could shock the world and knock off the 49ers this week. I really do. If they play like they did against Tampa, they're going to cause a lot of problems for Brock Purdy. I don't think
anybody.
Yeah, I don't think Brock Purdy's as big and good as everybody thinks he is. Okay, and I don't think he's beaten anybody good. So when he goes out there and starts to beat good teams, then we can talk about Brock Purdy. Until then, I don't want to hear it. But we really appreciate you, Ryan. Keep up the good work. We will be, obviously reading what you're putting out there, and we'll have you on soon in the off season. We'll talk about the combine and where the Giants go in the draft and free agency. Really appreciate all your time, man.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. Ryan Honey, fantastic. Knows his Giants football. He has the Giants 24-23.
24-23.
I'm not going to tell you my picks until Derek comes on, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. It's hard to pick against the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are that much talented. They're not Minnesota. Okay. Minnesota, they have a lack of talent defensively. This Eagle team, they're good all around. Their special teams, their defense, their offense, their offensive line. I mean, and they're going into the game healthy. So my bet would be that the Eagles are going to pour it on early and the Giants are going to have to withstand the crowd. And if they could, it could be a fun, interesting game for the New York Giants. It really could. And if the Giants could go to the NFC title game, anything's possible. We've seen the Giants do it before.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything's possible. Could you imagine the Giants playing in the Super Bowl this year? Daniel Jones, Dable's first year with really no talent. Could you imagine that?
Right.
And then they win. I mean, it's great. You make faces, but did anybody think in 2007 the Giants were going to be an undefeated Patriot team in the Super Bowl?
No, not at that point. But again, the Giants in 2007 were like far ahead, more talented than
Really?
this
How?
team.
Who?
Every aspect of it, probably besides
Offense, the wide receivers. Who was it?
Wide receivers was Burris and Amani Toomer.
Oh my God! Well, Burris, yes.
And
Amani Toomer. You know, at that time he was on his way out.
Definitely the offensive line.
The offensive line was good. Okay, in 2011.
2011 was a little different because
Victor Cruz.
Yeah, the offense, Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks, which is better than this still. And the offensive line, yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
I think Hakeem Nicks was overrated.
That's fine, but he still was rated.
And Victor Cruz wasn't a star until that year.
Well, no, I know Victor Cruz was a breakout that year. Hakeem Nicks was still thought of as a low-end number 1, high-end number 2 receiver.
I mean, if you look at the wide receivers this year, they started to pick up at the end of the season. The Hodgins he was talking about, and obviously Slayton started playing very well, just like the Giants in 2011. So why couldn't they pull off? They didn't have a star wide receiver. They never did. Not when they won. Mario Manningham, I mean, he was another one. Right. Caught in 2011, that unbelievable catch in the Super Bowl, which everybody reminds. You know, why couldn't the Giants do it this year? I'm not a Giant fan. So do I want to see the Giants win another Super Bowl? No, because I'm so sick and tired of listening to the Giant fan. And as a Jet fan, you know, it always comes to that, you know, when you watch what the Giants have done and being that they're in an easy conference and going all the way to the Super Bowl, that would piss off a Jet fan. That's for sure. But I'm not betting against the Giants, even though I think the Eagles, and I am an Eagles guy. I like the Eagles. As I grew up a Donovan McNabb fan. I want to see the Eagles win, but I want to see it to be a fun game. And maybe the Giants put up and shut everybody up on. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you have a quarterback and you can make plays in the open field, you can win.
Now, I will say that the defensive and offensive coordinators on this team are better than what they had.
Better coaching.
What they had in 2011.
I think they're better. I know Tom Coughlin's a great coach. If you want to say I would say Dable is better than Tom Coughlin was in 2011. Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
Who do we have calling?
Jeff is calling. We're still waiting on our second guest, Jeremy Mincey. I haven't heard from him.
You can put Jeff
on for now, I guess.
Jeff, what's up, man?
Can we talk for a minute about how everything the Bees like sucks?
Well, the Cowboys.
The Rangers just go down in flames. They couldn't beat a Boston team that was on the second night of a back-to-back. Bergeron half a face and a backup goalie. And now the second part of it will be Brock Purdy. Big Cock Brock is going to take down the Cowboys this weekend. What's up?
Well, I will say this. I didn't expect that game by the Boston Bruins. They had a sensational game. They shut down the Rangers offense. And Bergeron scored a goal, a very big goal in the second period, I think it was, which gave them, I think, a 2-1 lead.
That was a 2-0 lead at that
2-0 lead. So Bergeron put up the numbers. That's what when you look at stars and guys that you look forward to and watching and a captain of a team, you need somebody that's going to put his body out there and dude, he didn't have to play tonight. As a matter of fact, Jeff, at the end of the game yesterday, you said that he wasn't even going to play tonight. You probably thought they were going to sit him. And he played tonight.
It would make the most sense.
Yep. He still played in the game. He still scored a goal, and he was a big part defensively in this game. So it was a big win for the Bruins right now. What we have seen
they're
so
a
far,
wagon right now.
There's nobody looks like that they can beat this team in a 7-game series. But again, we've seen this before. We've seen teams, play hot all season long, and they go into the playoffs and they could fall apart. I don't think they will, but
no, it's a whole different season in the playoffs. The part that worries me with the Bruins is if you just go back to last year's playoffs, Allmark was terrible. He was their starting goalie. He was terrible in the playoffs, and they had to turn to Swayman, right? And Allmark is clearly their number one again, and you don't know how he's going to be in the playoffs. It's a whole new season. It's a whole the game is totally different in the playoffs.
If you were, and I said this to Speedy before the show, if you had a choice to keep Allmark or Swayman and trade one of them, even with the season Allmark is having, who would you trade?
Swayman.
Swayman, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not even close because Allmark, he didn't have the greatest season last year. He still had a very good season last year. He's having another good season this year, and he was also he also led the league in save percentage 2 years in a row with the Buffalo Sabres. Like, he's a good goalie. He's a really good goalie.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say Swayman keep and trade Allmark. You could get more back for him.
No, you trade Swayman and you keep Allmark.
Well,
Allmark's the better goalie. Allmark's the better. Yeah, I mean, not by much. It's not like they're
5 years.
It's not like it's not like Allmark is 35 and Swayman's 20. Like, that's not what we're doing.
How old is Swayman?
20. Swayman's 24. Allmark's 29.
I mean, that's a lot, man. That's 5 years.
It's not. You can play goalie. Allmark can play goalie another 6-7 years. What are you gonna do?
All right, that's my question. So I think right now the Boston Bruins are just unbeatable right now.
Here was the big question. It was the big question because I watched it on my hockey package, so I was forced to listen to the Rangers broadcast.
Yeah,
nightmare. But even the Rangers broadcast was brought up an interesting point. Marchand, Hall of Famer or not?
Yes,
I would say so.
Yes.
Both Rangers announcers both said, "Oh, he's a Hall of Famer for sure." I was surprised that they said that.
100%. And a lot of people make it to the NHL Hall of Fame. The one person that I'm still surprised that's not in the NHL Hall of Fame, and I'll say it over and over and over again. Speedy, who would I always talk about?
Rod Brindamore.
Pierre Turgeon.
Oh, Pierre Turgeon, yeah.
Why isn't Pierre Turgeon's a 500 goal scorer, over 1,000 points?
Does he have 500 goals?
500 goals, man.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah, then he should be in.
He should be in. How does the NHL not have this guy? He's got over 1,200 points. He played 15 years of hockey. He's had a couple of 40, 50 goal seasons. I mean, this guy is a Hall of Famer. Why he's not in the Hall of Fame makes no sense whatsoever. So the NHL needs to figure that out because I should write a letter to the Hall of Fame.
1,327 points.
I mean, it's ridiculous. He's a Hall of Famer. How many guys that has over 1,300 points are not in the Hall of Fame? The answer is
I don't know.
None.
Yeah, I don't know.
None. So that's the difference. How many points does Sidney Crosby have, Speedy?
I'm trying to find that out now.
Just look that up. Sidney Crosby has how many points? How many years has he played in the
1461. He's played 19 years in the league.
Okay. How many years did Pierre Turgeon play?
Pierre Turgeon from 21-year career, 1327.
Okay, so Sidney Crosby played 2 years less, and this guy is one of the greatest hockey players of this era, okay? And he only has, 60, 70 more points than Pierre Turgeon?
No, it's over 100.
Okay, 100 points.
It's 100.
That's still not a lot. For a guy, it's not for a guy that is one of the greatest players. One of the greatest players. Good.
Yeah, it's similar. He deserves to be in there. I didn't think he had as many goals as he did, but yeah, I mean, he deserves to be in there. But yeah, I'm impressed. Marchand's starting to get some credit for the player that he actually is. For a long time, people had just ignored it because he was just a rat, and I loved it. But he's getting credit for the player that he is.
And I want to say this, and this is coming from an Islander fan. The Islanders losing another game in overtime against a team that they're better than, it is embarrassing. Okay,
who they play?
They play Buffalo. They
I don't know. Buffalo's got a lot of good young talent.
Yeah, they do. But the Islanders are a better team, and to lose a game like this, where you had a 2-1 lead, you had a 1-0 lead, and then you give up a goal in the third period again, and then lose in overtime is embarrassing. 12 seconds in overtime.
I get it, but I don't think people give Buffalo credit because, and I don't care. I'll die on this hill. Tage Thompson's the second best player in the league. The second best player in the league. McDavid, Tage Thompson. He's that good.
I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying that the Islanders are a better team than the Buffalo Sabres right now. Now, it might not be for much longer. And honestly, if this keeps on going, they should be sellers at the trade deadline. They should be sellers. They shouldn't be buyers. They should be sellers. Because to me, this team just can't win the big part of the third period. They lose in the third period, and they give up a lead. They were 3-0 up. 3-1 up after the second period against the Washington Capitals, and then you give up 2 goals in the third period, and you let the Capitals win the game in overtime. They can't win in overtime. They can't win shootouts. If you can't do that, and you have a goaltender that stands on his head who had, again, 40 shots, 37 saves, and you still can't win. This guy is what is he, number 2 in save percentage in the league? And his goals against is 2.3 something, and this team can't still win. They can't win. It's embarrassing. It really is. And they can't score goals.
The problem is, here's the problem you have, though. You need a goal scorer, right? You need a goal scorer. But you also don't have anything you don't have anything anyone else wants to give up for a goal scorer. You know what I'm saying? Like, the pieces on your team are just not impressive. Like, all of them. Okay, Matt Barzal, but you're not getting rid of Matt Barzal to get, a Patrick Kane or a Taves or, something like that. Like, no one wants any of those pieces on that team.
Yeah,
no one.
It's an embarrassment right now. Lou Lamoriello needs to decide what he is doing at the trade deadline. I think they should be sellers. That's just my opinion. Even if they make the playoffs, this team isn't winning. I know the way they're set up, they're built for the playoffs. They are not. The way they can't score goals, they cannot beat the better teams. They can't beat the teams.
Look, and see, I hear what you're saying, and I would tend to agree with exactly what you're saying, but I'm also going to say playoffs, man. Hot goalie, and you can ride it for a long time.
Yeah, well, their goaltender is practically standing on his head every single game, averaging about more saves than any goaltender all season long. This is a team that's looked at as a defensive team, and their goaltender is averaging almost 40 saves, 40 shots a game. And he's standing on his head, and they still can't win when they have a lead in the third period. And then people are trying to point fingers at the goalie. Shame on you. Do you know that he has been the top 3 player of the game in almost every single game that he has played as the goaltender this year, and they still can't win those games? He is. Listen to this. This is the sad part of here. I'm going to show you Sorokin's numbers and his record right now. Sorokin is 15-14. Okay. He has a 2.30 goals against average and almost a 926 save percentage, okay, which is amongst the league's best in every single thing, goals against and save percentage. And this team can't win. He has 15 wins. He's lost 14 games because of this team. And this guy is at the peak of his career right now. He's 27.
But that's because the rest of the pieces stink. But this goes back to what I'm saying is if you don't have, like, dude, there's a bunch of players on the Bruins that people would take. Like, if Boston wanted Kane, there's a bunch of players that the Blackhawks would want from the Bruins. Besides Barzal, is there a player on the Islanders that anyone would want?
Brock Nelson. He's been
maybe.
Brock Nelson's he's an all-star this year. He's been their best player.
Right. He's an all-star this year because there's a league mandate.
Here's
why
he's dude, there's
a league mandate. You got to have one from every team because guess what? Amongst the David Pasternak's, I think, leading the league in goals or something. He's got 35 goals, right? He didn't even make it in the first round. Because that's because of the league mandate. Everyone gets one player. So going, he's an all-star means a whole lot less in hockey.
Okay. And I mean, Pajot is a guy that a team would want. I mean, the guy wins faceoffs. He's a guy that somebody would be interested, especially in the playoffs.
Right. But this is what I'm saying is all of these guys that you're mentioning, they're third and fourth line. They're bottom 6 guys. Pajot's a bottom 6 guy on almost any other team. You're not going to be able to acquire a premier goal scorer for a bottom 6 guy.
I don't know. He's a second line center. He is. And
he's second line on a terrible team that can't score. He's
he was a second
everywhere else.
No, come on, man. He was the second line center for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, my point exactly. The Ottawa Senators.
I'm saying he's a guy that can win faceoffs. He does a lot.
That's right. World beating Ottawa Senators. They've been so great.
I never said they were world beating. I mean,
Right,
Pageau,
but they stink. They stink. It's a trash. He was a second line center on a trash team. That's what it is.
well,
You don't. He's a bottom 6 guy on any other team. He is like it's dude. Look around the league at some of the better teams.
hmm?
There's no way Pageau would be in top 6 on almost any team.
Well,
The Bruins have a former NHL MVP on their third line.
I understand that. Are you talking about Hall? I mean,
Yeah.
you make it seem
He's
like
a third liner.
You make it seem like the Islanders have nothing. They're only what 6 points behind.
Because their goalie is great and is keeping them in it, and they're winning some games 2-1.
Their defense, they have some pretty good defensemen too. They do. I mean, Noah Dobson it should be an all-star this year. He's been one of the best defensemen in the league all season long. He should be a
Right, but very rarely. But he's not the kind of defenseman that you're going to be able to trade and get back a premier goal scorer for.
They're not going to trade him. Why would you trade a premier defenseman?
Right, but you're in need of a premier goal scorer. What you're complaining?
And he's a premier defenseman. He's 21 years old.
Right, but you don't really have the asset. I mean,
they're not going to trade him.
Defense is worth a lot for sure. Goal scorers, they're almost impossible. It wouldn't be an even trade. You'd be giving up Dobson plus.
I don't know about that. Dobson for Timo Meier, I think, would be a fair trade. To find a defenseman. First,
I don't really look at Timo Meier as like a premier goal scorer, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a goal scorer. He's a guy that has 27 goals this year. That's a goal scorer. I mean,
37 last year.
Yeah, he is a goal scorer, and he's the best goal scorer on the Islanders if he goes there. So, I mean,
well, that's not saying much.
I'm just saying that's what the Islanders need. They need 2 Timo Meiers if they're going to have a chance moving forward. I don't think they have the assets right now. I think they need to trade off, build around the draft this year. There's a lot of good players that are going to be available. This is a top-friendly offensive draft where they can get themselves some good, talent in the draft. So I think the Islanders.
But that doesn't really matter though either. You could get one of the top guys and he could suck. Shout out Capo Caco in the Beeve.
Well, Capo Caco's had a pretty good year.
He sucks.
That's 20, but okay.
He sucks.
Well, I mean, look, he's not as good as everybody thought he was going to be.
That's fair.
I mean,
still.
But we can just compare the top of that draft. 1 Jack Hughes, 2 Capo Caco. How we doing?
Okay, that's fair. Jack Hughes is insane. We get that.
I mean, it's interesting. And the Rangers have some good players. I mean, they have Panarin and Zibanejad and Fox.
Bum.
You think they're bums?
Really?
What'd they do tonight? Anything?
Well,
we had Panarin on a breakaway, couldn't even beat a backup goalie. Sit down, Panarin.
You're right about Capo Caco. He's having a better season, but 9 goals and 11 assists in 46 games is not what you expected from him. I mean,
that's terrible. That's terrible.
Lafreniere,
just double those numbers. He's like a 15 goal scorer every year. Great. Any third liner in the league is a 15 goal scorer, and he should be a whole lot better than that. Because wasn't everyone blowing the kid line? Oh, the kid line. Oh, such a good kid line. Oh, they stink. Lafreniere should be on the first thing smoking out of town. Capo Caco stinks.
They're not going to do it like
blow.
that, Jeff. They're going to trade him if they can package him for something better, not just smoke him out, trade him, just trade him.
Don't you remember those mouth-breathing Ranger fans? Terrible New Yorkers. Just horrible New Yorker Ranger fans. Oh, just terrible people. Oh, the kid line. We're going to be so good next year. Look at how good. It's such a joke that they beat.
They're not even on the line together.
A third-string goalie and then like a bunch of backups, and they beat a bunch of scrubs in the playoffs last year, and they were all jerking each other off thinking they were so good. They stink.
Well, they're not even playing together. Capo Caco's playing with Zibanejad. Lafreniere's playing on a third line, I think he is.
Right, which they had to do in their development at some point.
I mean, and
they're not developing. They stink.
Well,
and that
it's the first year playing on the first line for most of them. Caco did a little last year, and that's it.
And that makes it even worse that Capo Caco only has 9 goals. You mean to tell me he's playing with some of the top talent on that team that's still all he can muster?
Oh, you're right about that.
Trent Frederick on our third line has more goals than that.
You might be right.
Nick Foligno on our fourth line might have more goals than that.
You might be right. I'm not going to argue.
Stinks.
Capocacco was the second pick of the first round. Lafreniere was the number 1 pick. And I told Ranger fans when they drafted him, trade him for defense. Ranger fans thought I was nuts. And they might go back and say, you were right, Errol. We should have traded him. So Lafreniere's been a bust.
But it's not even that. It's Speedy, you need to pick new teams. Stop liking the Mets. Stop liking the Rangers. Everything the Beavs like stinks. Just shut it down and find something else. Hey, listen, always room for you here on the always room for you here on the Bruins bandwagon, Speedy. Enjoy some winning. Come on over, bud.
Well, I stick to my Islanders, even though they probably stink, and they're probably going to stink for the rest of the year.
Right, but they have a shot because the Beavs doesn't root for them.
I'm not saying I agree with the Beav on all his Rangers takes. Believe me.
Well,
we've had plenty of arguments with the Beavs.
Aren't we going on the 5th straight Super Bowl for Dak Prescott? He's amazing.
This is year 4, Jeff. This is the year 4 of the all the consecutive Super Bowls that they're supposed to win.
Right. It's the Beavs curse. Everything he likes stinks, dude. It's why when they drafted Capocacco, he was like, "This is great. We got Caco." Yeah, you like him? He stinks now.
Oh man, Jeff, you are one piece of work. Mark, what's up, man? You gotta unmute yourself, Mark. How are you?
What's up?
How you feeling?
Jeff, what's up?
So, Jeff, Mark says, what's up?
The great Mark Everett Kelly. I hope you're doing well and feeling well, Mark. I know you've had some struggles. Georgia just scored again.
Oh, that's pretty funny, actually.
In Mark's defense, he's up to
Tough times for Alabama these days. No offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator. All it is Saban in an empty room screaming at empty chairs now.
Well, it's interesting.
Thank God. Thank God no more defensive offensive coordinator.
He says, thank God.
Thank God.
Guys were awful.
Those are championship.
Yeah.
I would agree. You know what's funny, though? Pete Golding going to Ole Miss. Pete Golding going to Ole Miss. What is he going to give up? Like 50 points a game now? I mean, how is that exactly a move up?
He says Pete Golding going to another team.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Speedy, you have to explain.
Right, Ole Miss also just picked up
Spencer Sanders off the transfer portal.
Right,
yes.
right. Spencer Sanders, right, exactly. Ole Miss could be interesting, man. They really could. I don't think they'll be Tennessee good. I think Tennessee is going to be really good. They're going to improve. They got the number 1 quarterback in the class coming in, so we're going to see how that works out. But Ole Miss could be good, and that's very telling too. That you're leaving Nick Saban for a Nick Saban disciple. You're leaving Alabama to go to Ole Miss. That would be blasphemy 5 years ago. 6 years ago. But
I never said that. I said thank God he's at Ole Miss.
That's not that long ago.
Now we give up. Now
people are going on Ole Miss.
Lane Kiffin is the ultimate tease. He's the ultimate tease, Lane Kiffin. Yeah, everyone expects him. Everyone gives him all this great credit, and the guy's never won a damn thing. So he's a great offensive mind, but until he wins something, he doesn't deserve the respect he gets.
He was saying that Lane Kiffin doesn't deserve the respect he gets until he wins something, and the way he fell apart in the end of the season doesn't help.
Well, I would listen. I realize that's an Alabama person going. He hasn't won anything. Look, he got to that position by taking really crappy teams and doing really well with them. So I wouldn't say that that's doing nothing. And also, put respect on Joey Freshwater's name. If you don't know who Joey Freshwater is, Google that one. You'll love it.
Oh, man. Anyways.
Do you guys know who Joey Freshwater is?
I know you're rooting for it.
It's Lane Kiffin.
Oh, well.
Lane Kiffin used a pseudonym when he was working at Alabama to try to date the co-eds there. And he called himself Joey Freshwater.
What?
That's great.
Great job. Then again, I wouldn't expect anything less out of him.
That's funny.
He's fantastic. By the way. Lane Kiffin.
It kind of fits.
I mean, if that's not a Hall of Fame move, I don't know what is. Right? Maybe that's why they're all they're all going to work for Lane. They know what kind of study is, what a dog Lane is.
Russell Wilson.
Let him eat.
Russell Wilson advocates for Broncos to pursue Sean Payton, and he wants to pursue him hard. You know, it's interesting when you look at this story. I mean, Russell Wilson thinks that one offensive mind, aka coach, bringing him in is going to change the way this team played this year. I don't think it was all about the coach. I think it has a lot to do with the offensive play and not protecting. Obviously, Russell Wilson on the offensive line was horrible. It was horrific. And really, they had no running game. Williams wasn't 100%. Well, Williams tore his ACL in the early part of the season. They were depending on second-tier running backs, old running backs. They're not the same player. So I think looking at Sean Payton, does Sean Payton want to take over a job where he's not the GM? He's going to come in and he doesn't have a star pass rusher. He does have a star corner who's one of the best corners in the league, who's first team All-Pro I'm sorry,
Surtain.
Surtain. I'm sorry, I forgot his name, but Surtain, who had a fantastic year and a fantastic year last year. Mm-hmm. He finally is getting the credit that he deserves. So I don't know if Sean Payton, of all the places he's going to go or wants to go, I think it makes a lot of sense with Arizona. I know Jeff will probably say that too, because he could take over the GM job. He's the coach. He has Kyler Murray.
Well, they've filled the GM job in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he could have both jobs and get what he wants moving forward. And
no, he couldn't.
Why not?
They filled the GM job in Arizona.
When did they do that?
3-4 days ago.
Who did they fill?
Monty Ossenford
came from the Tennessee staff.
Speedy, I didn't know that.
And New England.
Oh, in New England. Oh, that makes sense. Tennessee hiring New England.
So Arizona will be out of the picture now. Maybe that's why he didn't take the Arizona job, or he didn't even.
I mean, is it out of the picture? I mean, I don't know that that's the case because no other. I mean, it would appear that he wants to coach, and no other opportunity has a dual coach GM role open. So I don't think that that's a deal breaker for him.
Well, wherever he goes, he's going to want a lot of say in who gets drafted and what is going to happen in free agency. So he has to get along with the guy that's in, as the GM if he doesn't get the GM position or even interact with the GM. So I think that it makes a lot of sense why Russell Wilson is going after Sean Payton. But does Sean Payton want to go to Denver, or does Sean Payton want to coach Russell Wilson? Now, everybody's going to say
nobody does.
Everybody's going to say, well, Russell Wilson was like the next Drew Brees. He's not Drew Brees. They're different type of quarterbacks. Drew Brees was a very accurate pocket-present quarterback to Russell Wilson, who likes to move and be mobile and do the things outside of the pocket as much as he is inside of the pocket. I don't know if it will work. It didn't work with Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. I love Sean Payton. It didn't work with Jameis Winston. He's a mobile / pocket present quarterback. He couldn't get Jameis Winston to play at the top of his game. What makes anybody think he's going to change the way Russell Wilson play when he's a stubborn person? He likes to play the way he plays. And obviously the team is not too fond of him, as we saw throughout the season. It wasn't because of Nathaniel Hackett. It was because Russell Wilson is very stubborn when he wants to run his offense the way he plays this offense.
And you saw that at the end of the Seattle tenure, too. A lot of the defensive guys and some of the offensive linemen did not like Russell Wilson, too.
Nobody liked him. Even Pete Carroll, we heard, didn't like him.
Yeah, there definitely has to be some kind of attempt at a coach stabilizer, too. That's very different than a Nathaniel Hackett, a rookie coach that had no idea what he was doing. So they have to do everything they can at this point.
Hey, guys.
Like that. Go ahead, Mark. What do you got? No, he said something that he froze.
Yeah, I got a trivia question for you. So, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions, but the Jaguars won, okay? Mm-hmm. In the Super Bowl era, give me the 2 other quarterbacks that have thrown 4 interceptions in a playoff game and won.
And won. Wow.
4 interceptions. Yep. Jeff, you that, Speedy? Tell him.
So, Mark had a trivia question of Trevor Lawrence was one of only 3 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era to throw 4 interceptions in a playoff game and win. Who are the other 2?
I believe Tom Brady is one of them.
Jeff says Tom Brady, he thinks, is one of them.
Nope.
He laid an egg. He laid an egg against the Colts one time and still ended up winning. Maybe it was only 3.
All right. No, so Tom Brady is incorrect. I'll guess Peyton Manning because I know he had plenty of playoff duds.
Peyton Manning?
Nope.
I'm going to say my guess. I'm trying to look at some quarterbacks mentally in my head. Who John Elway. John Elway? Mark, you hear us? No John Elway? He's shaking his head, so it's not John Elway. Speedy, you have one more guess before we give you have anybody else?
Let's go Warren Moon.
Doesn't seem like it's right. Who are they?
I'm gonna go Ben Roethlisberger.
And Jeff says Ben Roethlisberger as well.
Mark, who is it? What is it?
You got that one. Russell Wilson against the Seahawks.
What? I can't hear you. What is it?
Mark, go out and back in. We can't hear you at all.
All right, so we're having problems with Mark's.
Now we know why the lights are always out over there. His internet stinks too. You can only run one at a time.
He's so stupid. He's so dumb. I think he said Russell Wilson. I think he said Russell Wilson was one of them.
If Mark isn't constantly
game, maybe
if Mark isn't constantly running a commercial on why not to move to Alabama, this is it.
Austin Matthews and Pasternak lead final 12 players to round out all-star rosters. That's what Ben is saying. So Austin Matthews and Pasternak.
Right, but they're going to get in. Right, but they're going to get in. But think about those two guys are no-brainers to be in the All-Star game. And they weren't because there's a mandate. One team has to have a guy. So congratulations to whoever the Islander is. You're sucking up a spot of someone else deserving.
Brock Nelson's had a pretty good year. I mean, it's not a bad year.
Not even close to Austin Matthews or Pasternak. This is what I hate about this. Extra guys should be in these spots. The guys that earn it should be the first guys in. And then figure out who those guys are and then go, great, we gotta get some other idiots in here. Bring in the Islander.
Well, Matthews is.
I mean, you don't find it ridiculous that those two guys have to wait because there's this mandate. Like, think about this, and I'm not even going to rip on the Islanders. Someone from the Coyotes is going to get in. Think about how much of a joke that is.
Okay, so Austin Matthews has 22 goals and 27 assists, 49 points. Brock Nelson,
that's a point a game. Yeah. That's amazing, by the way. Because what has he played? 46 games, 47 games,
43 games.
40. So that's over a point a game. That's amazing. No one averages. Wayne Gretzky was like a point a game guy. That's how amazing that is.
Okay, and that's fine. Brock Nelson this year has played in 45 games and has 39 assists, 39 points. So
right, so not a point. So not a point.
Almost a point a game, dude.
Right, so not. Though.
But he's not having a bad season. You make it seem like Brock Nelson stinks.
But there's other guys that are doing better.
No, you're right.
But because of this mandate, the really good players don't get it because Olmark, who's having a historic season, got in as the Bruin. So they had to make Pasternak wait, which is why they're going to make Bergeron wait or Marchand wait. All guys that are deserving who might not get in because some schmuck from the Blackhawks is going to play or Coyotes. Like, think about how stupid this is.
Maybe Patrick Kane. Is it Patrick Kane that's playing from Chicago?
I don't know, but it's going to be some idiot from some terrible team that has phantom stats that's going to get in.
All right, Mark, who are the two guys? Who are the two quarterbacks?
Yeah, sorry. My computer wasn't working that great. Sorry about that. All right, so one of them you were talking about before was Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, and who's
the 2014 NFC Championship game against Packers. He threw 4. And then the other one was in a playoff game between the Jets and Bills, Joe Ferguson, 1981 wild card game.
No, I wouldn't have.
I would have never gotten that one either. Joe
Ferguson. Did he just say one of them was a Jet? Did I hear one?
No, he was a Bill.
Joe Ferguson. Bill against the Jets.
How did? Oh, it was against the Jets. I just figured it was going to be a Jet quarterback.
No, the Jets are on the positive end of this side at least.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time a Jet quarterback did anything good. The last time a Jet quarterback did something noticeable, like memorable, was when Mark Sanchez ran into his teammate.
I knew he was going to say that. First of all, buddy. He took his team back-to-back years to an AFC title game. So he did pretty well.
And then he ran into one of his teammates' anuses and fumbled the football, and then that ruined his whole career.
It's so funny. I was talking to Mikey C today, and I said, do you notice all the quarterbacks, all the high-profile quarterbacks that the Jets have drafted over the last couple of years, their careers practically ended on the Jets when they played the Patriots. Let's go through it. Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble. Number 2, Geno Smith, before he got his face punched in by his linebacker, the week before he loses against the Patriots, where he threw 3 interceptions. And that practically ended his time with the New York Jets.
And then Darnold was seeing ghosts.
Then it was Sam Darnold opening his mouth saying in New England that he was seeing ghosts. That was his time, and that was his done. And then Zach Wilson this year, in his second game against the Patriots, puts out a lousy game and then doesn't take responsibility on why the team lost. He didn't take any responsibility against the Patriots.
In fairness, I think the Patriots intercepted him 5 times his rookie year, too. Didn't he have 3 interceptions one game and 2 the next or something?
3 interceptions is one game for sure. I think the first game they played against
the fact is that it seems like it, and this is a person that can't stand the Patriots. Every single young Jet quarterback that they bring in always seem their career to be over after they have an unbelievable.
I don't think that's a Patriot thing, though. I think that's just a Jets are cursed.
It's more of a Jet thing.
It's a cursed.
The cursed against the Patriots.
So they're cursed, period. But although Sanchez did beat Brady in the playoffs, so
he did,
and he did beat Peyton Manning in the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
Mark mentions that he beat Sanchez, and Sanchez beat Brady and Peyton Manning in the playoffs.
Awesome. Terrific. He's the best quarterback in the world. He won 2 games. Awesome.
He won four games.
Body bagged more people than Tom Brady in the playoffs. I don't want to hear because he lost once to Mark Sanchez, that means he didn't run into his teammate's anus and fumble the football. Like, what do we do?
You got to compare. You got to be reasonable with what you're comparing it against, Jeff. Okay, we're talking about Jet quarterbacks here. We're not talking about human beings.
He says you don't have to be reasonable when you compare it against. You have to talk about Jet quarterbacks, not human beings. So basically, all Jet quarterbacks should be aliens, but they're not.
All right, here's a better question. The last 15 years, who's the best Jet quarterback?
Sanchez.
Good, Speedy.
Easy. I mean, you could say Fitzpatrick, I guess.
Fitzpatrick single season.
He said Sanchez. I think that in the last 20 years, you're saying?
15 years, he said.
Last 15 years, like, who's the best Jets quarterback?
15 years. Who's been the best Jets quarterback?
I mean, when you realize no Jet except Namath is thrown for 4,000 yards, and Fitzpatrick's the one who's come closest.
Since the 2000s. Go back all the way to 2000. Since the 2000s started.
All right, if you include
Vinny Testaverde. Vinny Testaverde.
Either him or Pennington was pretty good before he got hurt, but
Vinny Testaverde, I would say.
Yeah, Testaverde was good.
For the 3 years that he was there, I would say Vinny.
I'm gonna go Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, if you're talking single beseason, yeah, I would say Pennington's that better.
And that's why why this offseason for the Jets and picking a quarterback that they're going to bring in, any one of these quarterbacks that they bring in are probably going to go down as the greatest quarterback.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Pretty low bar.
It is. It's a very low bar.
But it just tells you. The Jets have had one guy one time have 4,000 yards. If they bring in,
that's it.
They're bringing
Derek the first guy to do it.
Yeah, if you bring in Derek Carr's he's done it almost every single year. So the chances of it happening over there with the Jets is a good one.
Right. But every quarterback does it almost every year. The Jets are the only the team whose quarterbacks haven't caught on.
Yeah, but that and the Jets were always a defensive-minded
The Browns
team.
and the Bears might have an argument there, Mark.
Jay Cutler threw for 4,000 yards.
I think the problem with the Jets.
No, the Bears have never had one.
They never had a 4,000.
No, they've never had a 4,000-yard quarterback or a 30-plus-yard touchdown.
30
passing touchdowns quarterback in a single season.
Wow. Wow, that's a great stat.
And the Browns have had it, but not in a while.
I guess Kozar probably did.
Kozar probably did, but yeah, that would have been the last one.
I think the problem with the Jets getting a quarterback this year is it's going to be a bidding war, and they may have to overpay. Like, are the Jets willing to think about how many teams need a quarterback, right? Washington probably needs a quarterback. The Colts, the Raiders, the Jets. I
don't think
Carolina.
I don't think it's
Carolina's in there. Atlanta.
I don't think it's a bidding war because everything that I've read and what people are saying is the Raiders are not going to trade him. They're going to let him go. They're going to let him go where he wants to go. That's what I've read. And that the Jets are
so
on the
it would
top.
create a bidding war.
Hold on. The Jets are on top of his list because of the talent that they have going into next season. So,
right, but you know what would change? You know what changes that? Like if the Jets go to him and go, "Oh, we're going to give you $20 million a year."
No, they're going to give him 30. They're going to give him about 32, 33 million a year. They're going to boatload it up front.
But this is what I'm saying. Money matters. There's going to be a bidding war, and it's going to be hard pressed to say, "Oh, I'm definitely going to the Jets." Even if it's even money, I don't pay state taxes in North Carolina, and I pay crazy taxes in New York.
I just think that everything that I've been seeing is that Woody Johnson is going to bring, if they believe and Woody Johnson believes the missing piece is a quarterback. That's what he says. And
I know it's just
it's true. Honestly, it's true with the talent that they have. The Jets make the playoffs this year if they had a competent quarterback. They're not going to lose 6 games in a row without a competent quarterback.
But nobody thought they would lose 6 games in a row either. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with this team. That's what's so frustrating.
I picked them to win, and something told me the way they were playing, there was no confidence in the team. They were depending on a backup quarterback that was waived 5 times by the same organization, and they think that he's the future in the franchise. I don't hear it from all the Jet fans anymore after seeing him play the way he played in the second to last game of the season against Seattle. I don't hear the Jet fans saying that anymore. Okay, he won't be on the team next year. And Boomer Esiason, this is a friendly attack to you. After Mike White came back to the field against Buffalo Bills and saying that him showing up to the game won him a lot of money in the offseason. Boy, oh boy, you're going to eat your words because I'm going to send that clip to your show when he doesn't make a dime more than he made this year. Nobody's paying that guy. He's not starting as a quarterback with the Jets. The Jets never thought he was a starting quarterback. And by the way, Mike LaFleur, after the fact that he got fired, he opened his mouth about, the quarterback play of the New York Jets. You know what, Mike? If you're so worried about the quarterback play, why were you the one that wanted Zach Wilson so bad when you went to his little pro day? Okay, I'm tired of listening to this guy. Go to the LA Rams. Go sit as a wide receiving quarterback coach because you're never going to get an offensive coordinator job again. You kiss your brother's ass. You kiss Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan's ass. Nobody gives a crap about you. You suck, and that's why you're gone in 2 years.
The 49ers will create some kind of position for him.
He stinks.
Some random
He
position.
is the worst. He is, and there's a lot of bad offensive coordinators the Jets have had. He is the worst offensive coordinator the Jets have ever had.
Is he better than Mike Heimerdinger?
No. Even Schottenheimer was better than him. Okay, he is absolutely horrendous. The Jets had all the weapons in the world to not be ranked 28th, 29th in almost all-purpose offense this year. It was absolutely horrendous when you have a rookie wide receiver is going to probably win Rookie of the Year. You have guys like Elijah Moore.
Well, yesterday or last week, you were like, "No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think he's winning Rookie of the Year." You just said he was going to.
I just said possible Rookie of the Year, offensive Rookie of the Year. He can. It's either him or Walker. It's one or the other. It's going to be Walker or him. That's who it's going to. And you say it's going to go to him. A lot of people think it's going to Garrett Wilson. All right. So you have a guy that is a great wide receiver, rookie year. Never had a wide receiver, a Jet to have over 1,100 yard, 1,000-yard season. You had one this year, and you can't find a way to win 2 games in the final 6 games of the season. It shows you how bad of an offensive coordinator you are. And don't blame it on the quarterback play.
But there's going to be like 8 teams that would kill for a quarterback, and there's only like 3 or 4 that are going to be available.
All right, name the 8 teams. Name the 8 teams.
Washington.
Okay.
All right. Why would Derek Carr go to Washington? Go ahead. Next team. Just go.
Hold on. You're doing this again, just like you did when you were like, the Jets are elite, right? I'm just saying they're in the market for a quarterback, and this is why I'm saying they're going to be a bidding war, because these other teams may be willing to pay for it. That's all I'm telling you. But there's 8 teams, right? You got the Falcons, the Titans, Washington, the Jets, the Raiders.
You said Carolina earlier.
Carolina, right? Carolina would kill for a quarterback. Who else is in that
Carolina's
mix?
drafting a quarterback.
You don't know that. They're not in the top 3.
Maybe if they could shed the money and make it work, the Saints, I guess, could too.
The Saints,
right? The Saints could.
If they're able to do the money,
they don't have
it's going to
the
be
money
very
thing.
hard
They're
to do the
not.
money.
Go ahead, kick them out. Tennessee might, but I don't think Tennessee is going to go out there and spend the money. They want to spend the money for A.J. Brown. They let him go. So good luck on that.
And if Aaron Rodgers leaves, Green Bay will be in the market for a quarterback.
No, they're not. They got Jordan Love.
No, they won't.
They got Jordan Love.
You don't know that.
Yeah,
You don't
I
know
do.
that.
He told. The reason why Aaron Rodgers is leaving is because Jordan Love came out in the middle of the season
I
and
don't
said,
think he's leaving. I think he's staying.
"Oh, I think he's leaving."
Did you just say Jordan Love came out?
Jordan Love came out and said that if Aaron Rodgers is on this roster next year, trade me. Because
Seattle could be looking for a quarterback. We don't know that they're sold on Geno
they're sold
Smith.
on Geno Smith. They're already negotiating a deal.
Okay, the Rams could be looking for a quarterback. We don't know if Matthew Stafford has a broken
They don't have
back
the
and needs to
money.
retire.
They don't have the money.
Regardless if you think they have the money or not, they're going to be in the market for it.
Baker
And
will be the
salary cap
quarterback.
Isn't real.
The Baker, you're right. The salary cap isn't real,
besides-
and that's
and
why I
besides-
think the
besides
Jets
they-
are going to get whoever they want because the salary cap isn't real.
And besides, they do have the money because if Matthew Stafford retires, boom, $40 million. So they do have the money.
$40 million?
Yeah, that's if he retires, they don't have to pay him.
Well, what I have read with Matthew Stafford is he doesn't. I did read something yesterday when I was talking about on the show that Matthew Stafford believes that he will play next year. So that's not possible either.
I mean, believes that he'll play next year isn't a very good sign.
Well, he's saying
Right?
that he's saying that he's going to play next year. So
Well, we'll
and by
see,
the way, the
because-
Rams yesterday, the Rams picked up Matthew Stafford's quarterback option.
Right, we'll see if it gets cleared to play because a broken back ain't nothing.
Well, they picked up his quarterback option, so they can't bring in a quarterback. So there you go. They'll probably bring back Baker Mayfield.
John Wolford 2.0.
There's only going to be about 4 teams that are going to be looking for or get.
I just named you
I
6 or 7. Falcons, Titans, because Malik Willis stinks and so does Tannehill. The Jets, there's 3. Well, Carolina, Washington. Like there's 5.
Atlanta's
and you're
going
like,
to
oh,
stop. Atlanta's going to start the kid that they drafted in the 3rd round. What's his name?
The
again?
guy who
Cincinnati.
shit his pants those last 3 games.
I don't
that
care.
guy?
They're going to. They're a young team, and that's what they're going. They're going to trust in Ritter and moving forward this year with Ritter. If
The
they have
Colts. There's another one. The Colts. The Colts need a quarterback. You going to stick with Matt Ryan? Oh, Sam Ellinger is the guy. Make the case now for Sam Ellinger.
I again, the Colts are a position where if they want to move up and get, because I already heard that Chicago's trading out of that spot. I've heard it. I also heard that the Texans might be willing to trade out of their spot as well. So both of the top 2 teams that everybody keeps saying are
I'll
quarterback.
believe that Houston thing when I see it because I don't think that they like. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, and they were playing Driscoll and Davis Mills. So I think they're sticking there.
The rumor wasn't for them to trade that far back. The rumor was just to trade a little bit back and then get whichever of the 3 fall out of the top 3, and then maybe draft one at 5.
But there could be other. That's a dumb idea.
It's risk. I'm not saying it isn't, but that was the rumor.
That's a dumb idea too, because if you're picking 2nd, you don't trade back to 5th, and then 2 teams jump you and take those dudes.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not risky.
Like,
I'm not advocating it's a good
Maybe
idea,
the Texans don't like, or maybe Chicago, not just Chicago Bears. Maybe the Texans don't like any of the quarterbacks in this class. Maybe they don't.
They better start to like them because they're all better than Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll.
Well, you might be right. So maybe they look for a free agent quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody like that they could bring in. Who knows?
I got the guy the Jets should be drafting too.
Oh,
Roderick Jones. Absolute beast.
Well,
beast.
I think
if he doesn't scream Jet, I don't know what does.
You're an idiot. You really are.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm handing you a gem. That's a gem, by the way. You'd be so pumped. I hope they draft him now, just so you can be like, oh, he's the greatest player ever, like you do with every draft, right? And then I can be like, told you so, idiot. Roger Jones, beast. You would love to have him on your team. Love it.
Why is Chris Chelios? I'm sorry. I'm just looking at it. Why is he wearing an Eastern Conference jersey when he was in the Western Conference practically his whole career with Chicago and Detroit? I mean, that doesn't make sense. It absolutely doesn't make any sense, but that's just me. All right.
You know what else is disappointing? You know what else is disappointing too? Think about what kind of wild card or divisional round weekend we would be having, right? If the league wasn't a bunch of shit sticks and suspended Calvin Ridley. How crazy would it be to see Calvin Ridley with the Jaguars playing against Kansas City?
I don't think if Ridley got suspended, he would have been traded.
I also would tell you when
what
Ridley,
do you mean he did get traded?
No. He got suspended last offseason, got traded
he
this
better-
trade
he
deadline.
better-
I don't think he would have been traded if he wasn't suspended.
He already wanted out.
Yeah. But it doesn't
But
matter.
he already wanted out. He was getting traded.
It doesn't matter what they're going to be. What Jacksonville's going to have next year with Kirk and obviously him and the tight end play of Ingram, they're going to be high flying. They're going to be fun to watch with Doug Peterson next year.
Imagine if Giants got tight ends like Ingram, that'd be crazy.
And I could see why. I could see why the Jaguars made that move at the trade deadline because they knew that teams would be lining up. There's not a lot of good wide receivers or number one wide receivers that are going to be available in the offseason. They picked one up for what? A third-round draft pick? I think it was a third.
It was a conditional fourth, and they could turn into a second based on how much he played for.
All right, so he's a fourth-round draft pick as of right now. So it's a steal. It's an absolute steal. All right.
Even in a second, it's a steal.
Derek Mountain, my friend. How are you, man?
Good. How's it going?
We're good, man. And we have Jeff, we have Mark, Everett Kelly on. So we have a full, a bunch of pretty boys over here. I mean, Mark.
Does Derek hate the beef?
Does Derek hate the beef? I don't know. Derek, do you hate the beef?
I don't know if Derek knows.
No.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no reason to hate.
I'm so jealous of a guy named Derek Mountain. I wish I didn't know the beef.
So Derek's on. We're going to do our picks. We have Mark. I guess you're going to be joining us. Jeff, we'll go through our picks. Jeff was 5-1. Derek, you were 5-1. Speedy was 5-1. I was 4-2.
So the worst. You were the worst.
I was the worst.
And the commonality there, the Jaguars.
Shut up, Jeff. You know, you're
what? I'm just saying, you went around. There's 3 tied for first, and there's 1 person in last.
Don't worry, Jeff. It'll be a different week for me this week. So,
Speedy, who's in last?
For the whole season, it's Derek. But Derek knew he had like 3 months to have to catch up to even get competitive, and he's done a good job.
I'm not surprised that dude's in last. His name sounds like an alias. Like a fake name you give that's a fake name you give at sketchy airports when you're trying to get into Mexico or something. What's your name? Derek Mountain.
All right, Derek, what are you covering up for now? Now we gotta know.
He's got me. He's got me pegged.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Where
are you going?
I've never heard that either. I've got a lot for my last name. I've never gotten that.
Where are you going? I'm going to Derek's Mountain.
That's what it is. He's an alias. He's on the run. He's hiding from child support somewhere or something.
He's not married yet. He doesn't have any kids, so I think he's in a pretty good spot. But that might change very soon. His brother just got married, so it might be falling to Derek's side because who knows what his his middle brother.
Don't put that into existence. Not yet.
He ever shows up on the show and he's got an internet connection like Mark's, you know he's on the run.
You know what I got to do? I got to get all 3 brothers on the show at one of these days. I got to get Brian. What's your middle brother's name? I always
Kyle.
Kyle, that's right. How could I forget? We got a Kyle over here. Kyle and Derek. I got to get all 3 of them on the show and let them go back and forth on who knows sports more and get it. It would be really, really funny. I think it'll be funny.
So if there's multiple mountains, that'll make it a mountain range.
Yeah, and then we'll get his father to come right in and sneak right in. That would be really interesting when Steve comes in. Oh man, I know your father has an interesting personality, strong personality. I think he'd be.
That's one way to put it for sure. Yep.
Yeah, he is a strong person. I like your father. He's a really good dude. He's a really good dude. But are we ready? We're ready to make our picks?
Let's do it.
All right, Speedy, let's go.
All right. So we'll start with the Jags and the Chiefs. The 4:30 game on Saturday. So we'll go with me first. Jeff, you'll go second. We'll do Derek, then Mark, and then Errol. So this is going to be a shootout. I definitely would bet the over in this game. Jags Chiefs. The Chiefs, their strength on defense is being able to stop the run. But Jacksonville, again, they ran it nicely in the third quarter, but it was mostly a throwing game for them too. But they can stretch the field with the receiving depth they have. I like Evan Engram as a matchup advantage in this game as well. And the thing is, I think they could. Doug Peterson knows Andy Reid a little bit, but Andy Reid, I usually take the experienced coach a little more to know the assistant, except for the times that the Bill Belichick's had issues with his assistants. And Chiefs can stretch the field as well against a Jacksonville iffy secondary. So I think it'll be a shootout, a close game, closer than expected. Give me the Chiefs. Jacksonville will cover, but the Chiefs win 34-28. Jeff, you're up now.
I'm taking the Kool-Aid man in this game. Andy Reid, he's the man, bro. He's the best coach left in the game. The Jaguars are up and coming, but they're not there yet. They probably should have lost against the Chargers. Give me the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think next year is probably the Jags' year. I know you guys were just talking about Calvin Ridley being on the team next year. I think they are probably really pleased with winning the AFC South. Lawrence looks like the guy, but they're not in the Chiefs class yet. They're not going into Arrowhead and winning that game. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs, 31-21.
Mark.
Yeah, I'd go with the Chiefs too.
You know what's interesting? You look at this game and the quarterbacks. You have Patrick Mahomes, a young star, as we see, probably the MVP this year, and Trevor Lawrence, who threw 4 interceptions in the first half and just absolutely blew the tops off of the Chargers in the second half. Really good coaching. I think both coaches know each other. I think it's going to depend on the running games. I think whoever runs the ball better could control the clock and keep the offense of the other team off the field. If the Jaguars do it with ETN, they can win the game. I think they could absolutely go into Arrowhead and knock them off. Kansas City, I think it all depends on who's running the ball and how they dominate the line of scrimmage. If they do that, Patrick Mahomes has the time, and that depends on the Jaguars' defense. I think it could work for the Jaguars. Something tells me this game could be close. The Jaguars could have the lead going into the fourth quarter, but it is an Arrowhead. It is going to be a cold day, and I would bet on Patrick Mahomes any day over Trevor, Mr. AKA Pretty Boy Lawrence. Give me Kansas City. It will be close. Kansas City wins 27-20.
All right, the Saturday night game. My New York Giants against Derek's Philadelphia Eagles. Well, yes, I'm hopeful that the Giants could keep this magical run going. I do think this will be closer than expected because the Giants proved two things in this game. One, their secondary depth playing very strong, and also the interior offensive line, I think, played very well against the Vikings. Now, the Eagles are a whole different beast inside with Fletcher Cox, Jeff, your boy, Jordan Davis, and Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, all those guys. So it's going to be another tough test for it, but I do think the Giants will be able to run the ball with Daniel Jones outside designed runs, and I think Daniel Bellinger could be an X factor too with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
I have a feeling I know where he's going with this.
That being said, though, I don't know if the Giants could be able to move it on a consistent basis. The Eagles start fast, and you were saying on the weekend, Crunch Arrow, can the Giants do well if they have to come from behind? I think that's going to be hard. The Eagles are a fast starting team. I think they're going to fall behind early in the first quarter. That's where I think it'll be harder for them to run the ball at a higher volume with Saquon Barkley, and I don't think they'll be able to get away with that against the Vikings. I think the Giants will keep the Eagles to field goals to keep this game close, but I do think Jalen Hurts will get it going in the fourth quarter. So give me the Eagles. It'll be a close game, 23-17.
Jeff.
Yeah, this isn't even going to be close. I've been rooting for the Giants. Speedy, I've been rooting for the Giants.
Yes, you have.
Right. It's not going to be close. There's an X factor that the Eagles have, a fat prick named Jordan Davis. What a beast this dude is. The Giants are never going to be able to run the ball because they got this fat prick inside that just gobbles up running backs. No chance Saquon has a big game. Give me the Eagles and Jordan Davis by 30.
I'm also going to go with the Eagles, and I also think it's going to be a blowout. I was a little bit skittish after I saw the Vikings game, but I also realized that Vikings defense is just terrible right now. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on Danny Dimes yet. Saquon looks really, really good, but the Eagles defenses look like a top 3 defense all year. They have 21 of their 22 starters from week 1 that will be playing in this game. The only guy that's not playing is their nickelback, Avonte Maddox. This is the healthiest they've been since that Houston game on Thursday Night Football in the middle of the year. They haven't played well in a month. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're going to want to be sharp. It's going to be a primetime game at the Link. The crowd is going to be fired up. And I think Hurts is going to want to prove a point. After that disappointing wild card loss last year to the Bucs, I think he's going to be a man on a mission, especially this game. So I think the Eagles cruise here 28-13.
28-13 for Derek. Mr. Marky Mark, who do you have?
Yeah, I haven't really bought in the Giants all year, even though I've been impressed by them as the season's gone on. I didn't think they would make the playoffs. But the Eagles, if it's a rivalry matchup, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think the Eagles will win. I just think they have too much talent. Like Mr. Mountain said, that they're healthy for the first time in a while. So I like the Eagles.
This is going to be a very interesting game. I know a lot of people think that the Eagles are just going to breeze right through the Giants. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times in the same division. The Giants, they understand the Eagles. They play in the same division as the Eagles. Jalen Hurts isn't 100%, and that, to me, scares me for the Philadelphia Eagles because he's going into the game hurt, and where there'll be pressure. I think the Giants will try to put pressure on him early in the game, make him throw off his spots, and really watch what they did against Minnesota in third downs. They brought 7 DBs. Are they going to do the same against A.J. Brown and Smith and the weapons that they have? They could. And Wink Martindale loves to blitz the quarterback and put pressure on the quarterback. I believe he'll do it early. He'll try to get Jalen Hurts to make mistakes, and we see it. I don't care. This isn't the Chargers. The Giants aren't going to make the same mistakes as the Chargers do, especially if they get an early lead. But there's something that tells me, like Jeff was saying, Jordan Davis back 100%. Cox, he's 100%. This defense is still one of the better defenses in the league. Front 7, they're beefy. They're going to spike up the defensive line. And this offensive line is finally healthy. Johnson and everybody is there, and they're going to protect Jalen Hurts. They know they have to protect him to make plays. I believe Philadelphia win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants pull this game off and move on to an NFC title game. I'm taking the Eagles because they're one of my teams. I take the Eagles 30-21.
All right. The Bengals at the Bills in Buffalo, 3:00 start on Sunday. 2 teams that did not have good coaching in their first wild card game weekend. The Bills definitely got badly outcoached by Mike McDaniel, I thought, in that game. And Zach Taylor, I've always been kind of skeptical of as an in-game play caller. He's a good culture guy, good with the players, but in game sometimes he has some very bizarre decisions, and he did not coach well against the Ravens either. That being said, I think it'll be a little harder for them with the offensive line injuries. They have no Jonah Williams, no Lyle Collins, Alex Kappa. I don't know if he'll play either. And Buffalo's pass rush, I thought it was going to be a concern without Von Miller, but it really hasn't been a big issue yet to this point. Boogie Basham, Greg Rousseau have played a lot better this season than they did last season. So I think Buffalo has a little bit of an advantage in the trenches. The Bengals can't run the ball, and they can spread the ball out nicely, but I'm worried about their red zone offense. So with that being said, I'm going to take Buffalo in this game. I think it will be close, but I do trust them to be able to spread the ball around and stretch the field. Give me the Bills 27-23.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'm going to take Buffalo in this game. I think you're going to see an appearance by Damar Hamlin. I think he's healthy enough to make – dude, that happens. That stadium's going to go bananas. Yeah. Bananas. It's going to be insane. I think Josh Allen is the better quarterback out of the 2. I think the Bills' offense is better than the Bengals' offense. I think they have a better defense than the Bengals' defense, not by a lot, by a little. I realize the Bengals are going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder because of how – they kind of got, went to that coin toss situation because of the Damar Hamlin thing. I still like the Bills in this game. Give me the Bills.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I am also going to back the Bills here. Just to echo off Speedy's point, I don't think Cap is going to play. So the Bengals are down arguably their 3 best offensive linemen. I mean, talk about the worst time for that to happen. It's pretty much the same exact situation as last year. The offensive line is the Achilles heel again. Another difference too, Chidobe Awuzie, the top corner, has been out for a couple weeks now against Stephon Diggs. I mean, the Ravens couldn't expose them last week. Diggs is going to have a huge game. Josh Allen's going to have a huge game. I don't think the Bills are going to be nearly as sloppy as they were in that wild card round. They were creating plenty of explosives, but Josh Allen was really careless with the ball. I think he's going to take much better care of the football. I think the Bills kind of cruise here. I think it'll be close for a half, 3/4 maybe, but I think they start to pull away late in the game. I'll take the Bills here 27-19.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I like the Bills too. I just think they've been on a collision course all year with the Chiefs. I think that how they lost the playoff game last year was a big part of that. And they're playing with inspired now. Also, they haven't had the greatest regular season. I think they've committed a lot of turnovers, and I think they're due to straighten that out. Plus, Cincinnati, like they said, they've talked that some of the offensive linemen might play, but to be out that many, and Burrow, if he doesn't have time, is not going to be able to be as efficient as he should be. So I like Buffalo.
Burrow looked like crap last week, okay? He did. He got outplayed by Huntley, a third-string quarterback at best. I don't know. It's going to be cold. Damar Hamlin could be there. It will. Jeff is right. It could make the crowd really go crazy. Could make the team go crazy. The confidence level. Diggs had over 100 yards last week and a touchdown. Gabe Davis had over 100 yards and a touchdown. These guys, if they do what they did last week, even against Miami, who they look sloppy against, they're going to win this game. I just don't trust the Bengals in this big game. The crowd's going to be loud over there. I think a lot of pressure is on Joe Burrow. This guy, he wears his weird fucking, stuff all over his body, his pajamas before the game. I mean, I don't know what he wears. I mean, the guy's a weirdo, okay? But his father says this is what makes him confident and understanding of who he is as a player. That's great. Is he going to be able to do it in a game? Is T. Higgins actually going to wake up in a game? He's going to throw the ball to him, which he didn't do last week. 4 receptions for 36 yards is not enough for T. Higgins and for them to win. They need to spread the ball this week. If they spread the ball with Hurst, Higgins, Boyd, and then obviously Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase, catch the ball, God damn it. I mean, you're an absolute ridiculous player. You could play in a big game and open your mouth when you make a play, and then when you drop the ball, you have somebody to point at. This isn't Zach Wilson, baby. And if you go into this game playing like that, you're going to really lose.
Make the pick.
I've got Buffalo. I got Buffalo. And I don't even think this game's going to be close. I'm going to say 37-15.
Wow, that is a big one. All right, the last one, the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers.
You guys are going to be surprised on this one.
So this is an interesting one when it comes to the interior rushes of both their teams, because that's the weakness of both the offensive lines that they have. Zach Martin's great for the Cowboys, but still kind of young on the inside. And the Niners, they have good tackles. Do they have the interior against the Dallas pass rush inside? But Dorrance Armstrong got hurt twice in that Buccaneers game. How healthy is he? Will they be able to move around everyone else to be able to make it work and move Micah Parsons around too? Because Leighton Vander Esch, I can't imagine, is going to blitz a lot. Now, the other key matchup for the Cowboys is can they get their pass-catching running backs involved to counter that 49ers pass rush? Because that raw running game is probably not going to work, especially with Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner outside too, in addition to the defensive line. And also their secondary depth. It's just something that it looked good against the Buccaneers, but again, the 49ers are much better offensive line than the Buccaneers, and they're still able to get their players in motion a lot better. And I do think Brett Maher will miss a field goal as well. So this will be a close game, kind of high scoring, but I trust the Niners defense a little more. And Mike McCarthy, he'll have some kind of play calling blunder as well. Give me San Francisco in this game. Dallas' defense just too inconsistent for me. 30-20 Niners. Jeff, you're up.
Come on, Jeff. I'm dying to know who you're going to pick.
For me, it's not even close. If you go position by position, every position, the Niners have an advantage. They have the best roster in the NFL, probably top to bottom, defense, offense.
The Eagles do.
They're probably
the Eagles do.
I don't know about that.
The Eagles do.
By far. Well, we'll see. We'll see, because they're probably going to end up playing each other. But this isn't even close. And if you're supposed to be a good team, you're supposed to draft good players. Not a single Georgia Bulldog on the Dallas Cowboys. Not one. Not a single one. It's appalling. It's a bunch of dudes from Indiana and TCU, and we saw how that went with TCU. They stink. This is going to be so satisfying to watch Beeve cry in a bucket of coleslaw, that sloppy pig. Give me the Niners.
So now we know the real reason Jeff doesn't like the Cowboys. We all thought it was the Beeve all these years. It's really the fact that they have no Georgia players.
Go look at their roster. It's actually not very good.
Okay, so I went back and forth here. I wanted to pick the Cowboys here, and I'm with Jeff, where I think if you go by position groups, like San Fran's better pretty much everywhere except quarterback. Now, I just think this spot for Dallas is brutal. This is going to be their 4th straight road game. This is a short week for them. They played on a Monday night. San Fran played on Saturday afternoon. That's huge. Dallas is traveling to the West Coast. San Fran just physically dominates every single team that they play. Now, the one thing I think Dallas has working in their favor, Brock Purdy specifically, I mean, who are the best defenses they've played since he's been the starter? Like Miami, Tampa Bay, right? I mean, these are not good defenses. So I do think Purdy's going to be punching up here. I do think he is in for a little bit of a surprise, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I can't go with Dallas here. I think everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid after they beat a terrible Tampa Bay team. That's not going to sway me in my pick here. I was impressed by Dak, but it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to go with San Fran here, 27-21.
Yeah, I just love the playoff history between these two teams. So it's going to be fun to see them on the field again against each other. Now, I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked that Jeff did not pick the Cowboys. I got to say, I don't know what the world is coming to. I must be in another dimension. But I think that it's for me. I am no Dallas Cowboy fan at all. I've never liked them. But just to be different, since we all seem to be picking the same teams here, I'll take the Cowboys. Just to piss Jeff off, and because I want to be a little different.
Mark picked the Cowboys, Jeff, for the sole purpose of pissing you off. He was so shocked you didn't pick the Cowboys. He thought you were in a different dimension.
I heard if he wants to be on the losing side of things, let him side with the beef.
Looking at this game, I was like Derek. I was going back and forth, and I had in the beginning of the season. I had San Francisco and the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl. And I'd still go that way. But it has nothing to do with the Tampa Bay game. It has nothing to do with that. Something tells me we haven't seen the best of Dak Prescott in the playoffs. He looked like crap last year. He made that unbelievable blunder, which cost the Dallas Cowboys a chance to win the game. And Mike McCarthy was all over the place after the game. He doesn't know his ass from his tailbone, saying and trying to make excuses. Something tells me this game is going to be close. I don't trust Brock Purdy, okay? I don't trust him. Everybody thinks he's like the next coming to Tom Brady. He's not Tom Brady. He's smaller than Tom Brady, and Tom Brady didn't have the offensive line in the first 2 years like this kid has this year. It's just it's not going to happen. And I think the Cowboys are going to put pressure on him. The Cowboys are going to be able to run the ball against this defense that everybody says is so fantastic. I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are. Who did they beat the last 4 or 5 weeks at the end of the season? Nobody, okay? They're going against the Cowboy team's going to get at you. Micah Parsons, they're going to move them all over. And Van Der Esch, did anybody watch the game? Van Der Esch coming back and stopping and cutting up the middle of the field the way he did. They couldn't run the ball against them. Tampa Bay couldn't run the ball. Fournette had 20-something yards. Nobody can run the ball, and that was the big problem for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Give me the Cowboys in this game. I think they shock the world and knock off the 49ers, and you will see an NFC title game with the NFC East. Eagles, Cowboys!
Cowboys, all right.
Oh,
Hey, listen, guys, I got to get going.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Always appreciate coming on. Jeff, take care, Jeff. Nice talking to you again.
Jeff, he said take
Mark
care.
says take care, Jeff.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Mr.
Take care
Mountain.
of yourself. I wish you all the best happiness and health and all of that.
You too, bud. Talk to you soon.
All right. Mark's gone, but now I will say something about this game. Everybody is taking San Francisco here, and I really think San Francisco is going to have a chance to win this game. It's not about being different. Everybody is doubting. Everybody in the world is doubting the Cowboys. And there's something that tells me Dak Prescott is going to go into this game, and I believe he's better than Brock Purdy. I don't think Brock Purdy is as good as everybody thinks he is. He really isn't. He's had games that, yes, he's the only quarterback in history. I think he has 12 touchdowns and no interceptions, and he's the first quarterback to win 6 games in a row. Big friggin' whoop. Who did he beat? Okay, he beat a defense last week that was ranked 28th in the league. Okay, not the Cowboys, which all season long, except the last 3 games of the season, they were ranked in the top 5 in every single statistic. Van Der Esch is back. This is going to be a different Cowboy team. And I think they're going to get at him. I really do. They're going to throw him off. McCaffrey's the secret here. What are they going to do with McCaffrey? Are they going to move him to the wide receiving position? Are they going to move Deebo Samuels to the running back position? Because in the fourth and third quarter, who was running the ball more, McCaffrey or Deebo Samuels? Deebo Samuels was. So
it doesn't matter, though, that they're so interchangeable that they have more options and more trickiness. Like, that's going to keep Dallas on their heels, baby. Give me the Niners. Big cock, Brock, in a landslide.
Ward made a lot of mistakes last week against Seattle, and I don't trust their secondary. I really don't. San Francisco secondary, yes, they have a great safety. Fantastic. The other two, the other 2 guys, the 2 corners, young guys that made a lot of mistakes last week against, yes, the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. CeeDee Lamb, he's as good as DK Metcalf. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from, especially the beef telling me that CeeDee Lamb is not any good and he drops the ball. CeeDee Lamb is a great player. They've got weapons. They can run the ball. They have Pollard who can
I don't
catch
think their
the ball.
weapons are as good as Dallas's weapons.
What are you talking
Even
about?
if we say CD and Debo are the same guy, right? Just say they're kind of equal. They're kind of the same, even though Debo can do more things than CD Lamb can. Ayuk is the best second receiver on either team.
Yeah, that's
Christian McCaffrey is the better running back and can do it all out of any of the guys playing. Right? Like, I mean, San Francisco's got way more things. And by the way, I'll give you another guarantee. You ready for this? Touchdown Charlie Warner. Where did he go to school? Georgia. He's a winner.
Charlie Warner scores a touchdown against a team with no Georgia Bulldogs.
Tight end Charlie Warner with a touchdown.
You are one interesting person with this Georgia Bulldog crap.
Jeff, where is he even ranked on the Niners depth chart? Because that would be quite
he's their backup tight end. He plays right behind Kittle. Yeah,
okay.
and he gets touches. And I'll give you
hold on.
Debo.
Does Jeff know how many catches Charlie has on the year?
Maybe they get hurt. Big deal. Big brain guy went to Harvard. Kyle Juszczyk can run.
Yep.
Derek, what were you saying?
Jeff, do you know how many catches Charlie Warner has on the year?
Go ahead, Speedy.
Like 10, and they're all touchdowns.
Speedy,
I will guess 4.
Errol, how about you guess 2?
1.
0. 2 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards for Charlie Warner.
Well, you know what's interesting, Derek? You were back and forth with the Cowboys in San Francisco. What made you back and forth with picking San Francisco over the Cowboys?
I'm with you where I think Dak has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, I think the interception stuff is like blown out of proportion. I mean, I think like more than half of them can be attributed to drops or like just, I mean, kind of luck. You don't want to say luck, but he's playing good football. I think besides the Commanders game, which was horrendous, but I think that was a team thing too. Like Dak was terrible, but the team was terrible. I don't think they really cared about that game. But other than that, when he came back, they've scored 27 in every single game he's come back, except for that Washington game and the first game he came back. So the offense is playing at a like borderline elite level. I don't think the defense is the same as they were weeks 1 to 8, where they look dominant, but it's still really good. They still have Micah Parsons, who's probably the second best defensive player in the league. Like you could say him, Bosa, right? Those are probably the 2 best defensive players left in the NFL playoffs. Still Trayvon Diggs, who can create a big play at any time. When Van Der Esch is in there, as you said, they look a lot better in their front 7. Tank Lawrence has looked really good this year. So, I mean, they got the talent to match up. Like, I still think San Fran's better across the board. But, I mean, talk about Brock Purdy. He could have threw like 3 or 4 picks in that first half last week, and it's Seattle. So, like, they're not going to make those plays because the defense isn't there yet. But Dallas can make those plays. Dan Quinn is going to make life hard on Purdy. The looks are going to be unique. The pressures are going to be crazy. My thing is just the weapons are too good, and we talked about that. But like we didn't even mention Kittle. I mean, for my money, I'm taking Kittle over any tight end just because Kelsey, like I hardly count as a tight end. He's basically a slot receiver. But like since Kittle's been back, I mean, that dude is an absolute monster. He changes everything for that offense, the way he blocks in the run game, the way he can create after the catch. I just think it's going to be too much for 4 quarters. Like, at the end of the day, San Fran's offense will always make plays no matter who is pulling the trigger at quarterback.
That's what I'm thinking, too. Yeah, Jeff, what were you saying?
All of that sounds good in theory. Oh, Van Der Esch and Micah Parsons, all that sounds good in theory. And they were good against Tampa Bay. But, you know, they haven't had to go against the best, I don't care what anyone says, the best left tackle in all of football. Trent Williams is playing in this game. That makes a difference. When you have a superior offensive line, you're able to hold up against good defensive players. And I'll give it to Micah Parsons, a great player. Great player. No, Trent Williams is better.
What do you think they're gonna do with Micah Parsons? If they know Trent Williams, they're gonna move him to the other side, and they're gonna make the other side of the line.
Great, and they can put a running back. They can put Juszczyk back there, and they can chip him.
I was about to say Kittle. Don't be surprised if they use him blocking in the backfield a lot too.
Yeah, but they have enough pressure up front that they're going to be able to open up the seam, that they're going to be able to get to Purdy.
That's great. If you put Parsons on the other side, great. Put Parsons on the other side. That means you're going to have a scrub going up against the best run blocker in football, and I'll just hand it off to Christian McCaffrey and let him run behind that fat prick road grading it, whatever son of a bitch is in front of him.
You mentioned, Derek, you're mentioning some of the other depth weapons too. I wouldn't be surprised if Juwan Jennings has a nice game in this one too, because he's kind of that deep threat that they don't really have the rest of their offense. Ayuk can be at times, but he's more as a precise route runner. And Kelvin Joseph and the rest of those Jordan Lewis, those other younger corners that they have that haven't been as good since Anthony Brown got hurt, they can stretch the field on those guys. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jennings is one of those X factors, because he was.
They basically had like open tryouts at that cornerback 2 spot since Anthony Brown went down. And last week, Xavier Rhodes got all the snaps, and he looked good because, I mean, that Tampa offense is so dysfunctional. Like, anyone could have looked good in that spot. But now he's got a matchup against Ayuk probably on most snaps. I mean, he plays on the outside every snap, so that'll definitely be something to watch for if Shanahan tries to go after that spot.
Yeah, they're going to move guys around. I don't like the matchup with Rhodes on Ayuk, because Ayuk is, I think, so precise of a route runner. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they try to physically rattle Debo a little more. Now, he's quick off the line of scrimmage, but he isn't as good of a raw route runner as Ayuk is, but he's also bigger and quicker, where they try to make it harder for him after the catch. And that where maybe Rhodes and zone coverage could be interesting.
I
forgot they had him, too.
I think when you look at both defenses, they very much match up against each other. San Francisco's the number 1 defense. Dallas was a top 5 defense all season long. Have they looked as good as they did in 1 through 8? I think, Derek, you're right. They haven't. But that had a lot to do with Van Der Esch being out, not playing in the last few games of the season. I think it's really changed the way. And Van Der Esch was the best defensive player of the team last year in that game, the game that they lost last year. So here's
the other thing. Everyone's talking about, Dallas's defense. Dude, San Francisco's defense is going up against an offensive line that has holes in it everywhere. It's Swiss cheese. Good luck blocking that Bosa kid off the end.
They played pretty well against a pretty good front 7 of the Buccaneers. So
yeah, they're not. It's not even close. Come on.
Their secondary sticks. The Buccaneers.
Who does Tampa have up front that's even close to Bosa? Even close.
All right, I'm not comparing them to Bosa. Okay,
that's what we were doing, right? Because you were like, they did good against Tampa.
Their front seven.
Inferior.
Their front 7 this year. Tampa's front 7 this year. How many sacks did they have this year?
Ben Simmons just got thrown out of the game. Screw you, prick.
I think they had 34 sacks this year, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. So they were up there. They put pressure. It was the secondary. Tampa's secondary was horrible. The Cowboys secondary, it's not great, but it's not bad. So I think they'll be able to do the things that they need to do.
That's all well and good. The number 1 defense in all of football, the San Francisco 49ers. They're the number 1 defense.
Where are the Cowboys ranked this year in defense?
I think they're
13th.
13th overall. Yeah, I know they were bad against the run. I thought they were still 5th overall. Okay.
Going into last week, Tampa was the 10th ranked defense, and Dallas was the 13th ranked defense.
Okay. Yeah, because I know they were bad against the run. I think they were 20th against the run.
You know who's number 1 against the run?
The Niners.
The Niners. Only 60 yards a game do they allow.
Yes. No, 80. It's 80. It's 80 yards a game they allow. And ironically, this is the funniest part. The last running back to rush over 100 yards against them was Christian McCaffrey before he got traded there in week 5.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so they're
Greatness
27th.
recognizes greatness.
They're 27th against the run. They are 8th against the pass. And they're 14th in least first down. Okay, they're 5th in points defense. That's what I was thinking.
All right, number
12th
one.
yardage.
Number one was San
Right,
Francisco.
so only 5th in points, right? And they played a terrible schedule, so they didn't give up a ton of points, right? But now they're playing the number 1 defense. They're going to have to score and keep the Niners off the scoreboard. Not happening.
Number 1 defense this year was San Francisco. Number 2, Philadelphia. Number 3, Washington. Number 4, the Jets. Number 5, the Saints. Buffalo, number 6. Denver, number 7, which is surprising. New England, 8. Baltimore, 9. Tampa, 10. Kansas City, 11, which is high. And then the Dallas Cowboys.
I thought they were
12th.
13th. They're 12th. Big deal. There's a big difference. You're a middle-of-the-road defense if you're 12 and versus the number 1 defense. So everyone's talking about Micah Parsons and this and that. The Niners have a good offensive line. The Cowboys' offensive line is held together with duct tape.
All right,
and
but
drugs.
you said the Buccaneers defense was horrible. The Buccaneers defense was rated higher than the Cowboys.
I just told you 10th, and then I thought it was I thought right, and then 13th, right. But there's a whole
45 sacks
dude,
this year.
There's a mile between 10th and 1st. Mile.
I understand. What did the Cowboys offensive line do to that front 7 on Monday? They shut them down. They had one sack. They had one
Besides
sack.
that fat prick Vita Vea, they're not good.
Don't call Vita Vea a prick. He's the most likable player on that defense.
He really is, though.
And
I don't care what that fake name dude, Derek Mountain, if that's what you think your real name is. I don't care that Charlie Warner doesn't have a touch this year. He gets one this week. He's a winner.
They're going to go for the plus, 12,000 anytime.
I was going to say.
For Charlie Warner.
I'll put $5 on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it hits, it hits, baby.
And I think that Giants and Philadelphia game is going to be a lot closer than people think, too. Just because I feel that the Giants been beaten twice against Philadelphia. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times in the same year. So I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on Philadelphia. The pressure is on Philadelphia. It's not on the Giants in this game. So going into this game, Philadelphia has to get an early lead. They have to make sure that they can't run the ball. If somehow Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones could run the ball, and remember, Philadelphia has had problems stopping running quarterbacks all season long. They might have problems with Daniel Jones. The confidence level of this kid, and listen, I don't like the wide receiving core of the Giants, and we had a Giants guy on talking about Hodgins. Give me a break. Hodgins is not going to be an X factor in this game. Trust me. Darius Slayton is not going to be. The X factor here is Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. You stop one or you stop the other, you're going to win the game. And the defense is going to have to cause at least 1 or 2 interceptions if they plan to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. If they do that, yeah, they can win. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Giants and the Cowboys in the NFC title game. I hope not.
Not happening.
I hope not, because we'll hear the beef. We'll hear the beef going back and forth. Oh, this is my time. I told you Dak Prescott's going to win a Super Bowl.
Here's the other thing that you're ignoring. You're completely ignoring this because you're trying to compare players and offenses and defenses and this. Here's the other. You guys are just way off base here. It's the Cowboys. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Throw stats out the window.
That's why I think this is going to be a different year for that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they have a trick up their sleeve.
So you think they're a Super Bowl champion?
No.
It's going to end soon enough.
Oh, no. Because they're going to play Philadelphia next week, and Philadelphia's going to absolutely pulverize them.
Just end it now.
I absolutely believe
Just
it.
end it now. Send McCarthy out to the buffet now. Just get it over with.
Everybody keeps talking about Brock Purdy, and he's the worst quarterback of the bunch in the playoffs still. He is.
No, that's Trevor Lawrence. He wasn't very highly rated.
Trevor Lawrence is better than Purdy.
Jeff, how is Mike McCarthy going to get to the buffet when
Trevor Lawrence would throw for
the Chiefs play at 30 and Eddie Reed will have plenty of time after the game?
I agree with you, Derek, and I think Brock Purdy was the last person drafted last year's draft. Give me a break. I know he's having a great year. Congratulations to Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers, because Purdy's going to get smacked around on what is it, Sunday? It's Sunday.
Says the guy in last place.
I'm sorry?
Says the guy in last place.
Why? Because I'm going all out there. I had San Francisco going to the Super Bowl, and I probably do the same as I do every single year, picking San Francisco and Buffalo. But I just want to throw a curveball and say, you know what? I think the Cowboys are going to surprise the world and knock off.
This is
the
more
49ers.
hedging your bet, because then if San Francisco wins, you get to go, well, I had them to the Super Bowl.
No, I
No,
won't.
you're picking them to lose.
That I did. I picked them to lose because you want to know something? I want to shove it up where the sun doesn't shine from you, Jeff.
It's not going to happen, brother. It's not going to happen. It's the Cowboys. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And the Bees likes them. That means they blow.
Salt water or clear water? Let's hear it.
What?
Salt water or clear water?
What's clear water?
What do you think?
Like fresh water?
Very good. Which one?
Saltwater pool.
Saltwater pool. Okay, there he goes. All right, so he flipped us a curveball there, Speedy.
I don't like the ocean. I'm not an ocean guy because
I
I
hate
hate
the
sand. It's just it's the sand that gets me.
Sharks. Sharks.
Oh yeah, dude. The ocean is nothing but monster soup. That's all it is, dude.
Derek likes the ocean, so you can't throw him that because he's
dude. The ocean is just monster soup. Everything in there is trying to kill you.
Maybe that's the foundation of Derek's alias enterprise. Maybe they're all from the ocean. Maybe Derek knows about Atlantis and where nobody's knowing us.
What is this, the Beast?
Octopus trying to kill you. Giant squid trying to kill you. The 1,000 different species of shark all trying to kill you, except the nurse shark because it doesn't have any teeth, right? Stingrays may have killed. Don't sleep on stingrays. They took down the crocodile hunter. Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
Stingrays killed him, dude. Everything in there is trying to kill you. Fuck the ocean. It's monster soup.
There you go. He doesn't like the ocean. I don't like the ocean because I used to surf, and I had my interview with a shark instead of a vampire. After that, I was done with that. I don't even go in the water. I won't even. I was going to do the polar. What do they call it? The polar plunge
Dive or whatever.
Plunge this year. I go every year to support it here on Long Island. It was like 35 degrees. Everybody was going in the water. And I told everybody, F that. I am not going in that water. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's warm. You will not see me go into that water. So I
jellyfish, monster soup, jellyfish, bro. Terrible.
Jellyfish. And, people would say crocodiles and alligators and all that other crap.
Jeff, I don't know if you heard my comments about when you were talking about Mike McCarthy going to the buffet. Buffet's going to be closed because Andy Reid and the Chiefs play at 4:30, so they'll have plenty. They'll have plenty of time. He'll have plenty of time to eat up.
No. McCarthy eats whatever Andy Reid eats.
Did you guys see when Andy Reid was going up to the press, what he was eating going up to the press the other day?
No, I didn't.
No. He was eating a hot dog. He was finishing a hot dog. It was really, really funny. I saw him stuff it in his mouth. He went up there. He had mustard on his top of his lip. He was licking it off. I'm like, this guy is out of his mind. He just wins a football game, the last game of the season, and he's eating hot dogs.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest though. The hot dog is at the top of the food chain as far as arena or stadium cuisine. Name me a better hot dog on the planet than a stadium hot dog.
No, you're right. Actually, a New York hot dog, the Dirty Dogs, they're the best. They are.
No. Stadium hot dogs will wreck those things.
Have you ever been to the city and had the?
Of course, the dirty water cart hot dogs that are on the street. I've definitely had them. They're good. Doesn't even matter. Any stadium across the country, that's the top of the arena food chain.
I got a question for all of you.
Right below that, sausage and peppers. Number 2, sausage and peppers.
All right. Best stadium you've ever been to, all of you. Best stadium you've ever been to, and favorite food at the stadium you've eaten.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Speedy, you first.
Is this all sports?
All sports. Any sport, any stadium. Best stadium you've ever been to. Favorite food you ate at that stadium.
All right, Camden Yards is definitely the best stadium I've been to. Favorite food though, individually at that stadium. I'm actually gonna take out one that Jeff was mentioning, very similar to sausage and peppers in Cleveland when I was in there at a Progressive Field. Yeah, the brat over there. It was a loaded one too. It was delicious.
Yeah, it's great.
How about you, my friend? Derek, your favorite?
Best stadium, definitely Wrigley for me. That was like otherworldly. I don't even know if this counts as a food, but like I just associate it with baseball, and it's the only time I'll ever eat this food, but it's peanuts. And it's just like there's nothing like cracking peanuts and watching a baseball game. It makes me feel like I'm in like 1950.
A bag of peanuts is elite cuisine. He's right. That's a good choice. The peanuts.
Are you kidding me? And they last like all game. They give you so many goddamn peanuts at a baseball game. It's unbelievable. So it's not even a real food, but I tie the experience to eating peanuts, watching a baseball game live.
Just don't tell your girlfriend that. Jeff, how about you, man?
All right, I'm gonna pick 3 because I have 3 different things. Right, I'm gonna go Fenway Park for like the nostalgia. Like if you like nostalgia, it's either Wrigley or Fenway. So I'm going Fenway Park. The best eats in Fenway is the clam chowder in right field. Unreal, right? If you're looking like best new stadium, like new thing, I went to the Nationals ballpark the week it opened. Not a bad seat in that whole place. It was awesome, and they got a Five Guys in center field. It's amazing to eat a Five Guys burger in the thing. And I'm going the third one. If you're looking for pregame experience, nothing beats Old Miss and going to the Grove. It's amazing, the Grove, dude. It's like the world's biggest tailgate every week at Ole Miss. It's unreal. Everyone looks amazing. They all dress their best. You're in the South, and everyone's cooking their own food. It's amazing.
I can believe that. I love Five Guys too, so a good choice on that one.
Mine was PNC Park. It was definitely Pirates. It's fantastic.
Bucket list for sure.
100%. If it's a place to go, they got around the stadium. They have a mall. They have all the different food places you could go to. My favorite food there was the chicken nuggets over there. And they have these, what do they call them? Twirl fries, where the curly fries. With cheese. Fantastic. Ooh. Fantastic. So that's a place to go. If you're a baseball fan, you're a sports fan, and you've never checked out Pittsburgh and PNC Park, that is a bucket list.
My brother went there in 2015 with my parents because he was on a college tour, and he said it was beautiful. Like nothing will be.
The grass smells like, you know, when you go outside and when you mow your lawn and you smell the grass.
Oh, the residue after
that.
The
residue after that. That's what it smells like on the field. It's. I was there like on the second or third level of the, right by the field. It smelled like fresh grass. It was fantastic. It really beautiful. It was a beautiful day. The sun, when the sun's going down at 5 o'clock, it doesn't put any shadows on the field because it's not hovering over the field. It's beautiful. It really is. It's a beautiful stadium.
I'll give you another honorable mention one that was really fun, and they had some really good food. Safeco, baby. Safeco in Seattle was dope, and I had a bag of crickets.
Nice. The chili lime grasshoppers.
Dude, they're awesome. They're awesome.
It was so funny.
He's eating grasshoppers and ants.
When those first came out, they were such like a random, like popular trend, and I was telling my mother about it. She was like so grossed out by it. And
no, dude, they're awesome.
No.
Awesome.
I would if I went there, I definitely would do it for the experience. But it was so funny when the first time the Mets played in Seattle, when they had those things first invented. It was so funny watching like Keith Hernandez like just absolutely like just could not handle it at all whatsoever. He wouldn't try to save his life. It was so funny.
And there's one on my bucket list that I'm yet to get to. I mean, I have a lot on my bucket list, but one that I really want to get to is the Diamondbacks because they got a 3-foot churro.
I know. Mm-hmm. They have
3-foot churro.
They have something else too with I want to say a chili hot dog or something like that. That's also
the hot dog's crazy too.
What's the stadium that you could swim while the game is going on? I want to try that.
That's a lot of them. That's a lot of them now. But
that's Arizona
is
too.
One of them.
I want to go.
Right,
that's what I want to do. I want to swim out in the outfield when the game's going on. That'd be nice.
I think the Marlins have something like that too.
I was gonna say Miami.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
I think theirs is in foul territory.
I want to do it, man. That'll be fun for me.
Those things got to be gross, man. Those got to be gross.
Well, public pool at a baseball stadium. What could possibly go wrong?
You know what? You chlorine it. You make sure that you wear nose gloves. Don't open your mouth.
No. I mean, I've been to a bunch of places that are really cool. I've been to Bryant Denny for an Alabama-Auburn game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's it. You know, when I was where was I? I was in Virginia. They have this like apple jelly. I forget what it's called, apricot jelly thing that they had at one of these facilities, and you put it on crackers over there. It is delicious. I mean, I bought I think me and Brittany bought a jar of it. And we still haven't opened up. Guys, it's friggin' awesome. It is.
We do that at our football parties. We do like charcuterie boards. We have the apricot jam,
good,
and we also get truffle cheese. The truffle cheese with the apricot jam. It's dope.
Cracker barrel. What is it? Cracker Barrel or whatever it is. That's
no, I don't know. It's my buddy's girl gets it. She's like super foofy and bougie, so she goes to like some cheese shop and picks up truffle.
Oh yeah, it was. I think we picked it up from What is it called? Cracker Barrel, whatever the heck the place is.
That's the cheddar place, and also there's a restaurant with that.
Yeah, the restaurant. Okay. We bought it at the restaurant. It's delicious, guys. Delicious. You could put it on bread, crackers. It's delicious. And
nothing beats arena cuisine, though, bro. You can go almost anywhere, get some dope arena food.
Ben says the churro is amazing. We have that at the Diamondbacks Stadium. Yes. So
yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
He's on board with the 3-foot churro.
What is up with this churro thing? Look at Ben.
Now the Diamondbacks have there's some crazy ones there.
I mean, a churro 3 foot. What are you going to do with a 3-foot churro? I mean, seriously.
I don't know. Throw it at the players when they strike out.
You can use it as a baseball bat.
I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. I'm not from New York. I'm not throwing things at players.
I mean, my bucket list is I've always wanted to go out to LA and go to an Anaheim game and an LA game in the same day. Could you imagine going to one game in the afternoon and one game at night, back-to-back days? That's what I want to do. I want to go to the Dodger game or the Angel game in the afternoon, and at night I'll go to a Dodger game because nobody shows up on time at the Dodger games anyways. So
you're probably not going to
get myself a nice seat.
Traffic is brutal.
I'll get myself a nice seat over there.
That's another epic one. A Dodger dog is classic, bro.
Dodger dog? That's what they call it? Dodger
yeah,
dog?
That's what they have.
I know
the
that's their iconic food staple over there.
Dodge the dog. That's what you got to tell your girlfriends.
Yeah, it's like the hot dog in Boston is the Fenway Frank. They have a Dodger dog. We got the Fenway Frank.
By the way, congratulations to Connor McDavid. He is one of only 4 players to get over 40 goals in less than 50 games in a season. So he is probably going to get 70 or 80 goals this year. It's fantastic the way he's playing right now.
He's ridiculous.
He's fantastic.
Ben says had a fun night last night hanging out with Goose Gossage and Tim Lawler at my buddy's bar.
Goosey as a Gossage, with the nice, beautiful mustache. He looked like a raper. He looked like what do they call? What's his name again from Queen? Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury. That's yeah, that's right. He doesn't sing right, that's for sure. Raleigh Fingers. I met Raleigh Fingers years and years ago. That guy's a crazy guy. His hands were huge. You want to talk about guys that have big hands? And Shaquille O'Neal. Biggest hands I've ever seen. Biggest hands I've ever seen.
Size 22.
Dude, his hands.
I was gonna say,
dude, his hands are bigger than both my feet put together. That's how big they are. Look, my hands are small. I don't have the very I have big feet, but small hands. This guy's hands were like 4 times the size of mine when I shook his hand. It's like you couldn't even see my hand in his palm. So it's unbelievable. Some of these guys are just huge when you meet them. And then but it's fantastic. But anyways, Derek, I know you got to go, but we always appreciate you, and we'll see where.
If that's your real name,
it is.
Maybe all this mustache talk. Maybe you could cover up your alias a little more.
I would love to see Derek with a mustache and a beard. How about that?
If I could grow one, I mean, I can get I can't do facial hair.
Do you want me to?
I could try for a month, and I get minimal progress.
Does your brother have the same problem as you?
No, he can grow facial hair. Takes a little longer, but he could grow facial hair. I just got the baby face going. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand. I understand. Your brother is like 5'8". You're like 6'1". I mean,
no, I'm 6'5".
I'm sorry, you're 6'5".
Yeah,
well, where's the size cut? Where's the size? I don't know.
No, this is all part of the cover of the Derek Mountain alias.
I mean,
100%. He doesn't grow the mustache. He's got a fake mustache when he's trying to sneak into Tijuana.
How big is Kyle? How tall is Kyle?
5'11".
Hold on 1 second. So it all works in The oldest one is 5'8". The second oldest, Kyle, is 5'11", and you're 6'5". That's ridiculous. I would love to see you stand next to your brothers. You all look the same. I will say that. You definitely.
You think so? I don't.
100%.
Kyle's like a little bit of an outlier.
100%. You guys resemble each other. 100%. I make
before Derek goes. Derek, how fast do you think hockey players can skate?
Oh, God.
How fast?
Here he goes.
Like on average?
Yes.
I mean, they're going more than 20 miles an hour.
No, top speed is 70.
Goodbye, Derek. Don't listen to this guy.
He should know he was a top prospect.
Goodbye.
Players skate 70 miles.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Derek, I love you, man. Thank you for joining us.
Derek stormed out. I don't know, Jeff. He stormed out pretty quickly. I don't know what is he trying to.
Jeff, you are an ass.
What is he planning?
You are
with
an
his
ass,
alias
Jeff.
of Derek Mallon?
I mean, it's a fake name. It's a fake name.
It's not. That's his last name.
It's a fake name.
You never heard of his father? His father's Steve Mountain.
His family's on the run. They're all in. They're government witnesses. They're in WITSEC, government protection. The government gave them all new identities. Mountain is the last name.
You're crazy. You are a crazy person, man. Anyways, Jeff, thank you for calling, bud.
Always a pleasure. Let's go 49ers. Charlie Warner touchdown prop. Speedy, I'm on it. I'm going to throw 5 on it for you.
All right.
It's got to be, dude, it's got to be a long shot.
No, I'd say it's probably like plus 12,000 or something.
Right. No touches this year. He's going to get in the end zone. He's getting in the end zone this week. He's a winner. Georgia player.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff from
Runs
Tampa.
at 70 miles an hour.
Jeff from Tampa. Fantastic, isn't he? Wonderful. Thank you, Derek, for joining us and listening to that garbage. Tell Derek I apologize for Jeff's craziness. But yeah, great show. It really was. A shame we couldn't get obviously Jeremy Mincey on. He's probably busy. Speedy, reach back out to him. Maybe we can.
Yeah, we'll definitely try another week for sure.
Figure something out.
He seems like interesting. He's got a production company. That's a little very.
I'm very surprised he didn't come on today. I thought he was.
No, he texted me back. He said he was ready to go, but you're right. Maybe something came up. I don't know. We'll find
Something
out.
came up, or maybe something was going wrong with his system. I don't know. But we'll get him on. We'll get Carpenter on next week.
Yeah, Carpenter's locked in for 8:00 next week. He's ready this time. We also might also next week have the return of NFC East reporter at Fox Sports, Ralph Vacchiano, might be coming back on as well.
Ralph coming on.
We'll find out. He has to see with his schedule, but he might be coming on
very
next
well
week
known
as well
too.
on Wednesday.
Very well known in the industry, Ralph is, and I think he would love to come on, talk a little football with us, as he is one of the best in the business of doing that. So, yeah, it'll be fun, man. It's going to be an interesting week. A lot of sports, a lot of football that we'll be talking about. And I know people are going to be sitting here and saying why I would go with the Cowboys. I wanted to throw a curveball because to me, everybody is picking the same thing. It's no fun. I don't care if I lose in the playoffs. Everybody knows I picked Buffalo and San Francisco in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with the Cowboys right now. I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. If they play the Eagles, they're going to get smashed up. I just think the fact that the Eagles lost the last time they played because Jalen Hurts didn't play explains everything on why I think the Philadelphia Eagles are destined to knock off the Cowboys in the NFC title game. So, and I know the Beav will have, he'll probably, in his pants if somehow the Cowboys beat the San Francisco 49ers. And I like to see the Beav with a smile on his face and think. And the Beav probably has San Francisco winning, and that's what makes it even more funnier. So
maybe it'll take 13 seconds to smile.
Yeah,
like it did to take Dak to run down the field last year.
He had Tampa winning the whole Tampa winning this week, and he was wrong.
Against the Niners?
No, he had Tampa beating the Cowboys.
Oh, last week, yeah.
Yeah, and he bet against his team, and he was wrong. So. Interesting.
I bet against my team, and I was happily wrong too. So I'll take it.
Well, and you're probably betting against them now, aren't you?
I did. I picked the Eagles 23-17, but I did pick a close game. I do have the Giants covering.
I figured you were going to pick and then everybody keeps saying, like Josh keeps telling me, he's a Giant fan. Why isn't he picking the Giants? I said because he knows that he thinks the Giants aren't going to win. That's it. I think the game will be interesting. I do early, and we'll see what happens. I think it's a blowout. I do. I think one way or another, they'll find a way to blow it out. The Eagles at the end of the game, because I think Jalen Hurts, if he's half healthy as I think he will be, it'll be fun to watch. But that's it. Listen to the Weekend Crunch on 103.9 at 10:30 p.m. after the Islander game against Carolina on Saturday. It will be fun. All different content that you don't hear on these shows, you will hear on those that particular show. So shout out to the fans on 103.9 FM. If you want to listen to the show live, listen to it at 10:30 on Saturday on
TuneIn Radio and iHeartRadio and 103.9, the LI News Radio Network.
There's an app for all of them. Check them out. Thank you to the fans, as always. Until next week, Mr. Wednesday, this is Errol Mark Speedy Petey saying good night, and we'll talk to you then. Good night.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Hi, this is Terry